try and take map control off them, leaving it down to the final minute on the clock.
Welcome.
Trying to draw as much utility
Yeah,
out
he's
from the
watching
CTs
replay.
as possible. This
Real off the rails
also will
today,
be like
starting
$2,000
off
or
watching some Counter-Strike.
if they can get all the incendiary
North
smokes,
America
flashes.
qualifier.
Qualifiers.
And now deciding to
Copenhagen.
hit
Live
lane
at
on,
times that
catching
we're actually
KD
awake.
with a nade out. That's going to get punished.
Yeah.
Thomas makes the
Lewis
most
is
of it.
basically
And now Skull's in a bit of an awkward position. Going to get nullified
I went to
from
bed early
Mayan
last
on
night,
abs.
like
And they have
1 or
enough
2.
space. They have enough time now to draw across the
That's early for
bomb.
me.
30
It's late
seconds
for
left.
us.
Bloxy lands a deagle.
Went to bed
And
at,
suddenly
like,
it's down to Kindar.
3.
He's been spotted from a mile off. And
I woke up at,
Bestia
like,
comes straight back
10:30
in
or
with Tech
something,
Nines.
time to
A
watch all
40
these
second left on the clock. Just full execute,
Yeah, I woke
explosive
up at like 10
play.
as well.
And Liquid are left in shatters.
Hey, Buzz
It's
King.
madness, mate.
Yeah,
You
I had
leave it
fun
down
with
to
Nova
so little
PNG
on the clock,
yesterday.
then you just go sprinting in,
Yeah,
winging
yeah.
it,
But
taking
thing,
all
I
the
see.
heads off.
I think we started a
That was a
match. I don't know if
time
I actually
bomb of a
started playing
round.
because I don't think
It's
you
about
ever
to
took
blow
your
up in
turn,
your
and then
Kindar's
I
face.
haven't done it since.
Might get one.
But I
A
did.
mere
I joined
prize
the,
at least, the single
pack
kill.
break
Yeah, you
today
can maybe
for,
hold
like,
on
the
to the
heroes,
MP9.
and
But overall, that's a
I bought
banger.
one pack
No
list, so
MP9
I
being
get a spot
taken
on
from
the
the
pack break. I ended up winning like 5 packs worth of stuff and like 2 legendaries. So that pack break today went really in my favor. And I think Lewis got a couple heroes too, so we're gonna start grinding a little bit more.
Yeah, I bought a couple and they gifted me a couple for streaming, so I got like 2 full teams now if I want.
Yeah,
Liquid loses this, I'm gonna be fucking mad.
I pretty much just bought 1 pack break spot, and I got a pretty good haul out of that. We'll see if they send me something extra too for just like streaming, but I'm not happy, or I'm not mad about it. Just what I get from the pack break is plenty.
My player for fantasy is not doing super well. The 2 players on Liquid that are negative kill death ratios are both players I picked in fantasy today. Come on, guys.
No deal.
Do like that. It's also pretty much like there's only 5 rounds. I guess there could be like 9 rounds. If they get kills every single round and don't die, except I guess it's possible, but unlikely.
Yeah.
I might not win any money today. My 10-cent bet down the drain. This match was super favored for Liquid, so the fact that it's 8-8 is not looking good for them. I think Liquid's rank like 25 in the world, and Bestia, I don't know how you say their name, they're rank like 60 or something.
Yeah.
Liquid's been choking a lot lately, though. They're the ones that lost to like the first qualifier to get into this qualifier. They lost the first round versus a team that was ranked like 50 or 60. Then they ended up coming back from the loser bracket and winning every game and making it back into this tournament.
Damn.
Let's see what the announcers have to say.
Backs off towards New Box, throws out the cheeky smoke as well, giving him a little bit of a shroud to play off of Acadium. He's just playing back towards CT. It's the aggression from Skulls that catches him off on the peak, and they do find their form in that round.
Kaden got a shot, man, but there was a couple of iffy moments after that point where, honestly, I think
3
both
more
teams
rounds
come out with that kind of like,
this.
oh, that didn't quite go as cleanly as we wanted. But obviously, Liquid, hot off the back of having an open for basically 5.7s and P250s, they're a hell of a lot happier. And that man, Nafly, it's this 3K that just secures the round really and seals the deal.
You're seeing glimpses,
Tactical
tiny
pause.
bits of them behind a Molotov.
Yeah, today we're going to, besides watching some Counter-Strike, we're going to look at some Apple Vision reviews and also watch some Off the Rails videos. So, got a lot of random crap planned today. Was thinking about doing a video game tier list, but I want to make my own. Like, I don't like any pre-made tier list for video game consoles. I also think a controller tier list could be fun. Video game controller tier list.
Yeah. I've been rocking the Xbox controller for like years and years now.
So
Definitely a fan of the offset
I got
access
the
for the joysticks.
Xbox.
Yeah, that one's great. I might get one like that. Like your magnetic, like non-drift one is great.
I really liked the N64 controller. I felt like it was a cool, weird
Really?
controller.
The one that had like the 3 prongs and you'd either hold it like...
Yeah. Well, nobody ever held it up by the D-pad, right? Like,
yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, you always hold it with like the main
Smoke.
long one.
Utility used down towards Banana again.
I
As
don't
well.
know.
They
I
break
thought that
it.
was a weird
Kendar
controller.
hunting straight through. Looking to see if
I
there's
just
an
kinda like
opportunity for an opening.
the,
Cadian resets himself,
the
can post
yellow
up on top of the
buttons
wall.
in
It's a
the
great angle to
joystick.
play off with the AWP. You can basically leave him
The
there as the
joystick in
rock to
center I
defend as
kinda
well.
liked. But that was before like
Moving
most
around with
games-
like a single joystick was also really
Problem
like
could be though,
difficult.
and why Kendar's
Like, if
probably
you remember
sticking
how, like,
around is
GoldenEye
one
was.
flashbang can potentially ruin Cadian's
Yeah, that's
day.
before
And
most
you
games
can
had
see
that.
him go in
Like that's
for the
before the modern
anti-flash, but
first-person
more
shooter.
importantly, sticks the landing onto
Yeah.
So it worked
Noxie.
for most of the games.
He may have took a bullet to the leg, but he's still alive on
That's true.
15.
I guess I was
And
actually
gives
pretty used to
Estia
it before
their
the
first
modern
casualty.
era.
What
So
an
I guess when I
important
was
pick
first
that
playing
is.
with it, I
No,
loved
it's
it.
massive for them.
But once I got used to the 2 joysticks, I couldn't go back. You know.
I still think
like,
it's like all the games were designed for that though, so it wasn't like
yeah.
it wouldn't work now. Like you couldn't plug an N64 controller and try to play modern games, but like for the time, I felt like it worked good for the games.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Because GoldenEye,
I
you
played
really
a lot of
weren't
GoldenEye.
like GoldenEye's kind of like Doom, where like your plane of shooting is decided automatically. Like you just look left and right, and then if people are above you, it shoots up. Like you don't really have to aim up at the people that are up. Like it wasn't.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, in GoldenEye, you're never really aiming in like any of the axes other than just like the height you're at. That's why Oddjob was
because-
such a good character because you had to like manually aim down, and that just like doesn't happen.
You could, I think, pull like the like if you did like the R button, I think you could move your.
Yeah, you'd have to hold it though, and then you could like you stand still and aim. It would bring up like a little crosshair, and then they'd be like, yeah, I don't know. I very rarely use that. That's for like.
Yeah, I didn't use that either,
objectives.
but I feel like you could still kill Oddjob without looking down. Like your gun
You
just shoots
could,
down
yeah.
when someone's down.
He's easy to kill with a slap too, with a slapper. Give him a good smack.
I
think
liked
it was
what was the big guy's name? Like the super tall one.
Was it Jaws? Jaw or
Jaws
whatever?
sound. I think
Like,
it's
he had,
Jaws.
like,
That
that-
sounds right.
Yeah, that guy was like
I
really
liked playing
tall.
him and Oddjob.
The 2 ends. I usually just went with Bond.
I feel like Bond is
But-
just such a predictable character.
Or I'd play as the redhead like lady. What's her name?
M.
No, M was like the gray-haired lady. She's like not Moneypenny, but like James Bond's like love interest from like GoldenEye.
Oh, is that the Russian lady? Or is
Yeah,
that
the like Russian lady. She had like a blue or like a teal kind of like colored top on. Like
I don't
red hair.
remember her name, but I remember her from the movie.
Yeah, I used to play her.
Doesn't she like bang someone to death in that movie? Isn't that like one of the scenes where she like strangles someone while they're banging?
Oh my god. I think you're right. Like in a
I think
sauna
that's like
or
the intro
something?
to the movie.
Yeah, like she like wraps her legs around someone's
Yeah.
neck while she's like sitting on his face and just like chokes him to death. I think you're right. Yeah. That's either GoldenEye or maybe like Tomorrow Never Dies, but that's definitely one of the Pierce Brosnan Bond movies.
I
There's,
think
like,
that was
one of the-
GoldenEye, but
Yeah.
Tomorrow Never Dies, I think, is one of the most underrated games on.
That game was really cool.
N64.
Like the gun effects and stuff were way ahead of their time. But it was also like it came out pretty late in that era of gaming. Like the new gen was about to like launch.
Yeah, that's when I got I didn't get an N64 until they were like, I think we got it for $100. And they like, when they started out, I think they were like $300 or something. So I got it like
Yeah.
when they were way cheap because they'd been out for a long time. But
Yeah,
that
what
was
was the
one of
other
the
one,
first games
Dark?
I got.
What was it? Perfect Dark? Perfect Dark was another one that came out and I feel like was a little ahead of its time.
I
Like
never played that one. I liked Tomorrow Never Dies because you could play with bots too. So like
yeah, I remember that.
you play like me and my friends versus the bots, so we could play together on a team. And I think they had like
That was fun.
objectives too. There was like there was not just deathmatch. You could do objectives.
I remember that one. There was like that snow level I really liked, where it was like a snow hut, and then it was like a creek in the middle, and then another snow hut on the other side. It was kind of like a balanced, like even map.
I feel like I definitely played that one. That was one of my top played. I think I didn't have many games on N64. I had that one, and then I think I had Smash.
Legend of Zelda:
can't
Ocarina of Time and Super Smash Brothers were my big ones, and then I guess of course Mario 64.
I'm not sure if I even had Mario 64.
That's like the game. What? That's like the game you get the 64 for.
Oh, RSL had a Turok Rage Wars. Was one of my favorite ones. Turok Rage Wars was a sick first person
the
shooter.
Dinosaur Hunter. That one was fun.
It wasn't. There's like no single player though. It was only like a. It was like a Quake version of Turok. Like it was an arena fighting game.
Oh, okay. I played the one-player one. That one was super dope. Where you like have all these absurd weapons, like futuristic weapons, and you're fighting like dinosaurs.
It's based on that game. There might have been single player. I don't know. I play like all multiplayer games. I can play a lot of single player games.
I'm telling you, still, I feel like I've brought this up many times since we've talked games on N64. But like one of my favorite ones, it was multiplayer and single player style. Was Jet Force Gemini.
I don't know if I know that. I don't know if. I feel like I haven't even heard you bring that up because I don't know what that is.
Oh, really? You should look it up sometime. It's so cool. I used to play like it was basically you could choose your character, and one of them was like a dog. The rest were like humans or robot people, but you could also play as a dog, and the dog had like a mounted gun on his back, and like if you picked up a different gun, it would just swap out the gun he has mounted, and then his like paws would have like little rocket boosters, and he could like do a hover, like he could do a float thing.
Is it like a side-scrolling game?
No, it was like a full-on, like similar to this Counter-Strike style, like shooter first-person game, or maybe third-person. I think it was third-person over the shoulder, because you could see the dog or you could see your guy. But it was really fun, and then the single-player mode was super badass, like crazy intense boss fights. Really cool soundtrack too. That was like this game. I really liked that game. I beat it like multiple times and would have people come over and play it with me, and like those people also had N64s, and they'd be like, what is this game? It's like I only ever play it here. I've never seen this. And it's just like, I don't know, very rarely I've run into someone who's aware of or a fan of
I've never
Jet Force Gemini.
Never
Like
heard of it.
Buzz
Jet
King,
Set
have you ever heard of
Radio,
that
I
one?
know.
Jet Set Radio was fun too. That's like you're like inline skating across a city, and you're like grinding on stuff and tagging the place.
Yeah, I think I had that on Dreamcast. Was the console I had it on?
Yeah, I was gonna say that was a little bit of a next gen one though. Jet Force Gemini was my shit, dude. You'd also like one of the things, like the enemies were like these ant people, kind of like, I don't know, like little ant people. But if you kill them with a headshot, their heads would come off, and you could collect heads. And I had like hundreds of heads. By the end of that game, I had like 900 over, like close to 1,000 heads. I was fucking slaughtering ants.
Counter-Strike match is almost over. Whenever it goes to overtime, if they both get to 12, it goes to overtime.
Oh yeah, we saw it go to overtime recently. That was pretty cool. The amount of utility that the pros use is just so much like beyond anything that like I ever see happening in a game.
You also only play casual, which people just throw
That's
their
true.
bodies at shit. I've been playing ranked more. I was playing last night. I got like the worst team ever. Some guy went 0-14, like 0 kills, 14 deaths. Just like, fucking go play casual, my guy. You're tanking our team. Can't kill a single person in any of the rounds.
Yeah, wow, that's pretty bad.
And I had to like over 100 ADR that match. Like I was killing over a person every single round. I was the second best on the server, even though my team lost. And I was like, the one time I do good, I get like the worst fucking team in the world.
Yeah, it's definitely a team game.
Also, nobody's on mic, which I feel like really hurts when nobody's communicating, because like telling people where people are is pretty important.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh shit, Cadian hit the fucking op shot. Let's go.
Oh, he's one shot now though. He's hurting.
This is probably going to be Bestia.
Yeah.
This map has one of the hardest maps to retake when you lose a site. And if you look, all the counter terrorists were at the wrong bomb site. They're defending B. And they all
I think terrorists got this round in the
so now
bag.
they're just going to go save it.
It is getting close to that overtime territory now, though. I mean, if the counter terrorists had won this one, that would have been it.
Yeah, this was also like an econ round, though. You can see Twist is using the stock pistol.
Paul's calling me.
But Liquid's really got to win 2 in a row after this if they want to close it out. Liquid loses this is going to be embarrassing for Liquid. Liquid's like one of the, I'd say like the top 4 teams favored to qualify in this tournament. So if they lose in the first round versus like a much lower ranked team, it's going to be embarrassing. I've also got a Grubfish pulled up if anyone wants to join, !Neon. And we're going to do other stuff after this game, but I was watching this game before we started streaming, and I kind of just want to see how it ends. And depending on if one team wins 2 rounds in a row, it could end very soon. But also, if they go to overtime, we could have some extra rounds. If you're not familiar with Counter-Strike, it's first team to 13 wins. But if both teams get to 12, then they add additional rounds, and then you have to get to 16. You pretty much, it's always win by 2. So if the other team gets within 1 round, it just keeps going to overtime. So if it gets to like 15-15, then it'll go double overtime. And I am rooting for Liquid here. I got some of their players on my fantasy team. Unfortunately, one of my players is not doing so hot, Yakinder. He's doing the worst on the entire server. Not a guy you want on your fantasy team, but I see him to get like 2 aces in a row, get 5 kills each round, and then we're back in business. I've also got Cadian. Cadian's doing better. He's 16-12. And that's on a competition I bet 10 cents on. I bet 10 cents that my team would do well, so not the biggest deal in the world if I lose. I can afford to lose 10 cents, but I want my guys to do good. Time's running out. They're going to have to make a play. There's less than 30 seconds left. It takes like 3 or 4 seconds to plant the bomb, so they got to be in the bomb site planting within like the next 10 seconds, basically. It looks like they're all rotating. They're going to A. They're going to have to come in 10 seconds. Here they go.
Shit, dude. I came back right in time.
Twist just fucking mowed them down. Let's go.
Oh, that's it. Counter-terrorists win. Do they have to win by 2, or is that the end of the match?
13 is the final, so one more round. Okay. They can clutch it out here. And then we get to check if my fantasy team won me any money. I'm guessing no, just because I chose the wrong player on this team. I chose Yakindar. I think Skulls was cheaper too, which is like I should have chosen Skulls. Skulls is 17-17. Yakindar is 10-16. That's not going to get me many points.
Maybe he clutches it out super hard right now.
Even if he got 5 kills in this last round, that would still make him have a negative ratio. So I don't know. We'll see. I was ranked like 100 before this match started. I need to be like rank 50 to win any money. Which I can check after this where I'm at. But I had 2 players left, and a lot of people had 0 to 1 players left, so we'll see.
Yeah.
But generally you want your players to get like at least 10 to 20 points to really have a shot. I'd say like 15 to 20 in these 1-round ones. Oh, it's over. GG. Liquid. Got it going at the end, but was it good enough to make Lewis any money? Oh, shit. Let me get rid of this for a second. I don't want to type my password on the screen. Do one of these real quick. See a giant version of my face for no reason. All right. My contests. Looks like I did not make it. Expected. My player did really... When you have the worst player on the server, that's not the player you want to pick. He got me -1 points. Fucking A, Yakinder.
Is the match over? The counter-terrorists won the second round? Clutched it out?
Yeah.
I missed it?
Liquid made it.
Sure.
Oh, if I would have picked anybody besides this fucking guy who got me negative points, I think I would have potentially won money. So I got 85. And let's see, to get 50, which would have been like 56, 1-0, 50. I would have had to beat 116. So I don't know. I was actually pretty far from being able to do that. So I got 107. So yeah, if I would have gotten fucking 10 points, I would have made it. And this guy got me -1 instead of like my other worst player got me 10 if I would have picked like anybody fucking else. So screw you, Kindar. You fucked me. He also cost more than like, that was my second most expensive player. He was supposed to do well. And he just fucking shat the bed.
Not ideal.
Not a good day for my fantasy. My HLTV team also, like, one of my players got me -25 points. It's like, are you fucking kidding me, guy? He went like 1 kill and 13 deaths. Like, fucking tanking my entire season. This guy. -26 points. Get the fuck out of here, guy. And the rest of my players did really well. 30, 30, and 17. This guy only got 3, but his team lost very badly. So the fact that he got 3 was decent. I'm somehow in the top 67%, even though one of my players got me -26 points. Fucking A. All right, got a grubfish going. Start looking at some off the rail stuff.
Yeah, let's see.
Or we can start looking at the... I can't tell where we ended last week and where we're starting. Frank Caliendo knowledge. I think that's where we ended. What's going on, Twalter? Happy Friday. I wonder if Linus Tech Tips has a Apple VR review yet.
Yeah. I want that fucking... I want one of those at least. I want to try that. The whole, like... Maybe I should just go, like, schedule a demo at the Apple Store. I don't have to buy it to try it, right?
I'm super surprised he hasn't done one, though, because this guy reviews, like, everything. I think only select people got it early, but, like, why would this guy not get it early? He's got 15.5 million subscribers. Apple Vision Pro review. We can watch Marquez Brownlee. Do we watch the 40-minute one or the 24-minute one? I think I'll watch the shorter one. This one was good, though.
This thing. I love this thing. Not because it's flawless or anything. It is far from flawless. But because it's actually interesting. Like, don't forget the last...
I put a grubfish banner up. Banner.
Oh, yeah. I liked his review.
What's up?
What's up?
Smoke weed every day.
2-3 years of Apple product review comments are just, that's boring. Oh, it's just a spec bump. There's nothing really new here. Oh, they hardly change anything or try anything new these days. But this thing is interesting. It's risky.
I do think that's pretty accurate as far as like the difference between like the iPhone 10 and the iPhone 9 or whatever, which is like slightly better cameras pretty much every year. But it's like,
yeah, it's also like the difference between the iPhone 10 and the iPhone 1 is still not as wide as the difference between this new i product and like any other Apple product today.
Although I will say the cameras do get like impressively better. And they also added some stuff like the weird like face tracking emoji things where you could like talk as those animals, and like whenever they change from 1 camera to 3 cameras was also pretty huge. Like, I don't know when that jump happened, but the 3 cameras where you can do like wide stuff like looks way better.
And most of all, it's new. Now, it's actually not fundamentally new. It's a VR headset, but it's new for Apple. And there are a bunch of things in here that are new in a way that only Apple would try. And just as interesting as this individual product is the possible future that this implies. Like when you get a first generation product like this, you sort of automatically assume that there are goals for its future, that it'll have another generation and another one after that, and that there is some goal for what this will turn into 10 years down the road. Because we saw what happened with the iPhone and the Mac and the iPad and all sorts of other first generation products. And on top of all of that, as far as I know, Apple has never released any other first generation product with the word Pro already in the name, which comes with a whole nother set of implications. So, is the world ready for all of this? Let's get into it.
I feel like it is pretty crazy that like at one point, like iPod was Apple's biggest thing. Like, and that even seems so distant. Like, not having your phone have your music on it, like it was just a device just for MP3s, which is like, I don't know. We've come a long fucking way from that. Like, the jump from iPod to iPhone was probably the biggest jump in like all of Apple stuff. So it's like, oh yeah, here's this thing that has my music. It's like, and now it's got everything. Like their little computers, they have social medias on them, but then also like you can record and edit music and on an iPhone, like with GarageBand and stuff. Like it's a full production workstation. You can edit videos on it, shoot and edit. Like, I don't know, come a long way from a device that was exclusively started as just a way to listen to MP3s.
Over the past 2 weeks, like I've spent hours in this thing with both bands, with multiple Macs, in different setups, different rooms, indoors and outdoors, lightness and darkness. There are parts of this thing that are absolutely amazing, unparalleled, best I've ever seen. But the reason it's so interesting is because it's actually new, and there are downfalls and flaws and trade-offs that come alongside all of this stuff. So at the end of the last video, I gave you guys a sort of a preview of my pros and cons list. If you haven't already watched that video, it is definitely worth watching, almost like a prequel to this one. It is.
Yeah, I will say the other video is really good. It's 40 minutes long, and since we're going to be pausing and commenting on this, if we watch both these, it's going to be like 2 hours of us just reviewing this video. So if you like this guy's content, check out Marquez Brownlee. Go watch the first video. The first video is really good. I've already watched both these two. I'm a pretty big fan of his content. I feel like he goes really in depth, and also like he reviews it from like the perspective of actually using it, not just like how good are the tech specs and stuff. Because I feel like some channels just like break down the tech and they're like, this is the processing speed, this is this, and they show it off like when they open it. This video he made, as he said, after 2 weeks straight of he's like used it inside, outside, like tried it in a bunch of different settings. So he gives you an actual like, this is what it's like when you're using it practically after a couple of weeks review, which is a lot better in my opinion.
A 30-minute monster, all about how to use this thing, how it works, what's inside, what it's capable of. And then at the end, I got to my upsides, which are immersiveness, placement in space, eye tracking and hand control, pass-through, ecosystem, and spatial audio.
That was pretty nuts. He fucking, in the other video, he plays ping pong with this thing on. So like the camera processing speed is fast enough to play ping pong, which if there's like any delay, you're going to miss the ball.
I've seen people fucking driving with it, which is really reckless, but it's possible.
Sides, which are weight and comfort, the eyes on the outside, app selection right now, battery life, and price. So, okay, for starters, I want to amend immersiveness to fidelity. I think that's more accurate here. I have used a bunch of different VR headsets now, and this Vision Pro has the sharpest, best looking micro OLED display out of all of them. The size of individual pixels on these displays is 7.5 microns, which means you could fit 64 of them in the size of a single iPhone screen's pixel. You can't see individual pixels. There's no screen door effect.
Holy crap.
It's awesome. The native refresh rate is 90 hertz, and it will crank up to 96 hertz when there's 24 FPS content playing to be an even multiple. And Apple says that they calibrate every single one of these Vision Pro displays from the factory for maximum color accuracy. They're really good, and this is a big reason why.
They do that for like the Apple Pro screens too. When I was looking into like getting one of those Apple monitors, the Apple monitors are super expensive, but everybody's saying they like color-wise, they look like perfect out of the factory. And like, I don't know, you get what you pay for as far as it's really expensive, but it's also like, it just works well out of the box, which a lot of other people are saying like you can get cheaper monitors, but you might have to like adjust the color and like do color tests on them and stuff.
Yeah, calibrate it yourself.
What's going on, Captain
What
Parakeet or
looks
Capcom
really
and
good.
Trey? Trey said the update's going to be a rear cam. That would be interesting. I don't know if any headsets have rear cams where you can like. It'd be funny if like on the sides there's like a rear view mirror, so you could like.
Yeah, interesting. Because like part of my complaint with like any VR headset that I've tried so far that has the pass through is that it is a more narrow field of vision than just not having a headset on. So it is like, you have blinders to like, an extent where you can't see all of that excess periphery. And from what I've heard from comparisons, the Apple Vision Pro's field of view is even more narrow than the Meta Quest 3. So that could be a downside too, because when you have it on, it's basically like, you're cutting off your peripheral vision. But I guess they could extend that with more cameras, and eventually you could have like wider peripheral vision than you normally
I also
would.
feel like if you want to not see in the headset, most of the time you should just not be wearing the headset. At least
That's true. Yeah, if you need your periphery, like, why are you wearing goggles?
Just take it off.
Yeah.
But I guess it depends on what you're using it for. But I feel like I personally don't even really need to see outside of it. Like if they have a version where there is no outside camera and it's just a nice headset, it's like, and I pay significantly less for it, I'd be more interested in that and be like, I'll take the headset off if I need to like talk to someone.
Oh, I'm definitely like a big part of what I want is the pass through thing. Like I really like the idea of adding like interactive games that you can play in your actual environment. Like I'd love to put that headset on, still be sitting here, and then see like, the front door breaking apart and having like people rushing in here and then me being like bam, 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 because you could totally incorporate.
In theory, but in practice, there are no games like that exist. So like, why do you need the hardware for something that doesn't have the software? Which like, yeah,
just so I'm ready when the software catches up. I just want to be able to do that.
By then there'll be another cheaper headset that does better.
That's
like,
probably true.
But
man, that's what I really want is like the kind of like the AR augmented reality like immersion. Like
yeah, I think that's
where
I would like that too, but that doesn't exist. So like getting a headset that's really good for something that doesn't exist is
like because I feel like the coolest thing ever would be if you could play like like laser tag or whatever, like paintball kind of a game with other people who also have headsets on, but you could do it like outside at like, at the park or at the fucking like the college campus or something. Just
this
run around
kind of already
like,
happens, Dre. He said, I need to stop when another person enters the room. I think you'll show it in this video, but when people talk, they enter your, like, even if you have the thing turned off, like your face enters. But
that is the coolest. That happened with the
yeah.
Meta Quest too. It was such a cool thing where someone talked to me while I had it on, and all I did was look at them, and they like appeared. Like, yeah, it's so cool.
I don't know when we'll get there, but
like that
maybe in immersiveness you'll talk about it.
So expensive. But then, and this is going to be a recurring theme here, the Vision Pro runs up against the technology of today not being quite advanced enough to accomplish what they were probably hoping as ideal. So in the case of these screens, right, they're amazing. There are so many pixels, but because there's so many pixels, the computer inside cannot actually render everything in high resolution all the time at 90 hertz. So instead, it does something clever. It combines the insanely fast eye tracking with what's called foveated rendering, meaning it's only actually rendering in high resolution exactly what you're looking at when you're looking at it. The rest is soft and fuzzy. That actually works really well because that's exactly how our eyes work. It's really clever. Like you don't think about it, but the thing that you're looking at the moment is sharp, but then the rest of your peripheral vision is soft and fuzzy, and that's fine. So really now all of the computing work is being done to track your eyes as fast as possible so that there's no lag between when you look at something and when it becomes sharp. Fun fact, you can actually see this in screen recordings from the Vision Pro. You can see the piece of the screen that I'm looking at is sharp, and then everything else around it, even parts of the same window, are fuzzy on purpose. But to my eye, that looks totally natural because I'm focusing on one thing at a time. I found that you can also screen record with developer mode in Xcode, and that'll make
that's also what this thing has on the Meta Quest 3 is that the Meta Quest 3, like the newest headset from Meta or Facebook or whatever, they don't have the eye tracking, and so the screen can't selectively to like do this kind of like down resing where everything else is fuzzy. And the way that they handle it instead is that the very center of the screen is the higher res, and then everything else gets fuzzy. which works well when you're focused on the center. But once your eye focus shifts even slightly from the center, you do notice it is blurry. And it sounds like this automatically like adjusts that blurriness so that you never notice it, which that's really cool.
The clip's 4K and it'll render everything in HQ all at once. But every time I did that, it would be choppy and scrolling would be slow and jittery. And I'm thinking that's just because the computers aren't really used to rendering everything in high quality all the time. So it looks like a higher quality recording, but the second I did any scrolling, it didn't look as good. So I just didn't use those recordings as often. So the screens are great. The position tracking of objects in space are great. The eye tracking is incredibly good. The one ding against immersion on the Vision Pro, though, and not a lot of people are talking about this, but it's the field of view. See, the first few times you use this headset, you don't even really think about it that much. You're so distracted by all the fun and the newness and how cool it is that your eyes are controlling the thing. But eventually you start to poke around the edges, and it turns out, you know how people are saying it kind of looks like ski goggles from the outside? Well, it also kind of looks like ski goggles from the inside a little bit too. Again, the middle is super sharp and incredibly impressive. But if I can do my best here through a YouTube video, the edges of the headset are a little bit further in than the edges of your vision. And so there's a little bit of like a cone effect going on, and there's some chromatic aberration around the outside. So you kind of have this slight feeling of looking into a large tunnel at everything. There are actually no field of view numbers published by Apple anywhere about Vision Pro as far as I can tell. And I kind of think that's on purpose because I have noticed from using them both that the Quest 3 has a better, wider field of view just looking inside the headset. So if I could change one thing about the Vision Pro to make it more immersive, it would be a wider field of view. No question.
Yeah, okay, cool. I didn't realize you talked about that too, because that was the thing that like I heard about, like, and Mark Zuckerberg said that when he was reviewing like, I mean, he was using the Meta Quest, but he was basically comparing it to the Vision Pro, and he was just like, yeah, our field of view is wider. And when I used the Meta Quest at a friend's house, you still get the sense of like you have ski goggles on. It's still not like a flawless field of view. So I wonder how much less the Apple one is.
Does it sound like this one's better at like rendering the environment though? Because when we were watching the review for the other one, they said like if you go downstairs or like sometimes walls are like all janky and stuff. It seems like this one doesn't have that problem.
Yeah, that's true. This one has way better sensors. It's also 7 times more expensive. What up, long hair?
With the subscription? What's going on? Did we catch you at another poker tournament?
Yeah,
long hair's always doing the craziest stuff whenever he pops in.
He knows when to hold them and when to fold them. Yeah,
we're looking at.
Oh, go on.
I was just saying we're looking at a review of the Apple Vision. Last week we looked at one of the Meta Quest, so we're comparing this week.
I feel like I'm gonna get one of these. It's probably gonna be the Meta Quest because I don't have 7 times the money to blow. But that's definitely, I don't know. I think like this. I think you're right. Like this one's definitely better, but like for how good the other one is, like you're still not gonna fall down the stairs. Where like that's already like so impressive to me. The fact that you can walk downstairs with that thing on at all is
don't need to be walking downstairs. Like the same thing I said for like immersion for like I don't even really care if I have AR. Like the things I want to do in VR don't have me walking down the stairs while doing them. Like I will take the goggles off if I need to walk down the stairs.
I feel like the killer app for like an AR thing would 100% be like a paintball game where you can just like the whole like world, the entire environment is the arena. And if you see other people who are also playing the game with the headset on, like you could take them out, and it's just like that would be fucking super fun. Yeah, that plus like bots and stuff.
Yeah, I just don't think there's really. That's the other reason why I would rather have a Meta over this is because I'd want to be playing Steam games through it, and this isn't going to link up with Steam in the same way because it's running based on Mac stuff, and games don't work on Mac.
You know what would be really fucking cool? What about like a Pokemon Go game where like you have the headset on and then like you walk to places in real world and you know it's like, oh, there's a Pikachu like by that bus stop and like, you know.
I mean, you can run apps like I don't know if this links to your phone, but like you can probably run phone apps on it and you might be able to actually just play Pokemon Go. Probably I don't know if you can like connect to the internet. Like, I don't know if you can use your phone as a hotspot maybe and then like broadcast Wi-Fi from your phone to this, then you could walk around. But the issue would be you lose internet when you leave your house.
That's true.
All right, let's keep
Or
watching
just
this.
connect it to your phone, like a Bluetooth connected to your phone, and then your phone's cellular data is like telling it, finding the gaming stuff, and then the phone's just processing all the image shit. I don't know. I feel like that would be really fun though. Like if you could go do like location based stuff like Pokemon Go, but like in VR, and you can see the stuff.
You look like a fucking
interacting
weirdo
with-
though, running around like.
Oh yeah. It definitely, you definitely get some fucking looks. I feel like people would. I mean, you already look like a weirdo.
Vision
with
Pro has
Pokemon
the
Go,
best
do that.
pass-through of any headset I've ever used. That much is super clear to me. And weirdly enough, this doesn't actually surprise me either. Maybe because this is one of the products that makes it so obvious that they're thinking a lot about the future. Like Apple talks a lot about AR and how they want things to just be clear and just overlaying things onto your real world. But with today's technology, again, that's not quite possible yet. So instead, they have a VR headset, but they are using the highest quality camera feeds possible and the highest quality displays on the inside possible to let you almost feel like you're looking through it at the real world. So you put this headset on, and the first thing you see is pass-through. I mean, you might as well call it transparency mode. And the sharpness and the colors and the very low latency are all so good that I really don't experience any eye fatigue, no matter how long I am in this pass-through mode. Despite my eyes being inches from these screens, I can interact with the real world around me, pick things up and look at them. I can walk around between rooms and not trip on things. I tried having people throw things at me and I could just catch them. I played table tennis successfully with the headset on, which is crazy if you think about what's actually happening here. The total latency, Apple says, is 12 milliseconds. That's from the outside light hitting the outside sensors to the inside image being updated and hitting your eyeballs. That's incredibly fast. And that includes the exposure time of the cameras. That's the specially designed R1 chip at work. But as Nilay from The Verge has put it, it's still cameras and screens. Like the technology of today isn't magic. So you still have to expose a camera sensor and set ISO and shutter speed, etc. And you can kind of play around with this a bit just by looking around like at bright objects or high dynamic range environments. And you know what? For the variety of situations I've thrown at this thing, it's handled it very impressively the whole time, mostly prioritizing smoothness and high shutter speeds at the expense of cranking up the ISO and getting way more noise, especially in darker environments. But you can still see stuff like the hand occlusion breaks sometimes or look really janky when you put your hand in front of something. You can
footage also looks crazy, like his hand and stuff, like being
it
rendered
still
by
looks
those
like
cameras.
very good.
I feel like you could use this to like film stuff like in person, even like this could be used in like movies to get like point of view shots on actors and stuff. Like I feel like there's like
definitely.
There are uses for this because it's so high quality that you could get some cool stuff that like I still don't see this as a use for just like consumers yet. Like I don't see like a reason, like everybody owns an iPhone or a smartphone. Like I don't think there's a reason yet for everybody to need something like this, but I do think there's like specific uses where this could give you really high quality results, but you basically have to be a professional in like a very specific industry to even like justify spending the amount of money this costs on it. It does look incredible though, like just this rendered footage. It's like, fuck, that looks good.
Yeah, I do feel like your regular iPhone would probably look better, but as far as if you're gonna film something, but for like a POV shot that's like exactly like tracking somebody, what someone's looking at, and like has this sense and the feeling of looking through someone's eyes, I think this is actually really good, like production tool. A little expensive.
Better than strapping a GoPro to your head.
Yeah.
Still see objects start to float a little bit more in X, Y, and Z space when you're in much lower lighting as opposed to the usual
that's
perfect.
Cool. You can play chess like.
Look, you froze it on a frame where like his hand is cutting out like weirdly. You see that?
Yeah.
Position. Again, it's the best I've ever seen with today's tech, but it definitely still has a long way to go. So honestly, the ecosystem is, I would say, the strongest argument for a regular person going out and buying today's version of the Vision Pro. Like I every time a new big product comes out or whatever, I get like texts from people. Oh, hey, Marquez, you know, I know you already made like a 30-minute video about it and like unboxed it and did all that, but like, what do you really think about the Vision Pro? Like, is it good enough? Should I get one? And truthfully, probably not. But I will say that there are a good amount of things that I do specifically look forward to using for it. And most of those things are ecosystem related. So obviously there's the built-in apps, right? iMessage works perfectly just like any iPhone or iPad on your account. Photos are all loaded up in here straight from your iPhone. This is clearly the headset that is best for iPhone users, Apple ecosystem people, but also little things too, like continuity. So I can copy some text on my Mac or my iPhone and then hit paste and it shows up in the Vision Pro. But there's two really impressive ones to me for very different specific reasons. FaceTime
cool.
and Mac Virtual Display. See, FaceTime is the most only Apple could ship this thing I've seen in a long time. From the personas scanned in from the cameras on the front of the headset to the positional tracking and responsiveness of the spatial audio, it's all so well thought out that, you know, once everyone on the call gets past...
They do, like, you can place the pictures of the people that you're talking to and then their spatial audio so you hear their voices coming from that direction, which is pretty nuts.
That is pretty cool.
It's cool, but it's also like, I don't know, who really needs that for thousands of dollars? Like you're buying like a multi-$1,000 FaceTime app like thing like that. I can't.
Yeah, although the spatial audio in the Meta Quest was also really spot on. I have to admit, I was very impressed by it, especially for it not being headphones. Like you don't have something over your ears. It like is just like near your ears.
I think that's how this one is too. I think it's like.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think you're right. Yeah.
That's the initial what is this? The shock, the moment they first see the virtual version of you. Once they first get past that, then it actually kind of slowly gets easier and it feels way more like a normal conversation than a normal FaceTime. And it trades the downside of not being able to hold up objects to your camera for a button that can switch to a real-time first-person view where you can use both hands instead of one. Does the audio from these speakers still bleed out into the rest of the world so anything over half volume is incredibly audible to everyone in the room around you? Yeah. But does it also still sound really, really impressive for not actually being real headphones? Yeah. But the other thing is Mac Virtual Display. This is my #1 favorite feature of the Vision Pro.
Even also after watching like the thing I think is the most useful. And also I was saying like, if you edit shit professionally, this might be of interest to you, but the average person doesn't need this. Like,
and over like watching movies and stuff. Now, first of all, yes, you can already do remote desktop viewing on something like a Quest 3. It's great. I love that too. But this one is way more interesting. So this is connecting to your Mac and then intaking and re-rendering a new virtual display for your Mac, not mirroring what's already being shown by your computer. So you can use your Mac with all of its existing controls you're already using with it, but make your new monitor literally as big as you want. And then you can open up simultaneous Vision Pro apps all around that Mac display and place them all around the room wherever you want, over the walls, floating in midair, pin them to other objects, whatever. You can go nuts. Now, is this perfect? No. There are definitely trade-offs from even the little things like not being able to see your keyboard when you're in an immersive environment to only being able to have a single virtual Mac monitor at a time. I want to see my keyboard. To always having to look where you're controlling.
That's only in an immersive environment though. Like if he does it in AR, he can see his keyboard.
Oh yeah, you're right.
You don't necessarily need. I don't know why you need to be editing.
I want to be editing on the moon. So.
I have to be on the moon, otherwise I cannot edit.
Actually, I want to be trading crypto on the moon. I'm gonna have my charts up and just be on the moon. Be like, I'm already here, baby. I already made it.
I also feel like that's something they can patch though, where you can be like, show me my keyboard when I'm in immersive environments eventually. Like that seems like more of a software fix than like a hardware fix.
I keep telling you guys, there's definitely extra brain cycles involved here. But I do still think that despite all that, this is my #1 favorite feature of this Vision Pro. The #1 thing that you can buy it for and do that you couldn't do with any other Apple product. I mean, it's the difference between looking like this in a coffee shop or looking like this in a coffee shop. Pick your poison, I guess. I also had a moment where I was using the Vision Pro for a while and I had my Mac and some other monitors around me. And then I took it off and then I went and did something. And then I came back And before I put the headset back
Does that
on,
mean you can like remotely, like if my computer's at home, I can go to like a coffee shop with a keyboard and somehow connect to all that shit? Like that would be pretty fucking useful if you can from anywhere in the world be like
Oh, that would be useful.
pulling it
If
up
you could
on your.
cloud compute from your computer at home.
That seems like a pretty useful function, but yeah, I'm not sure exactly how that works.
I feel like you have to
looked
have
up
your
at the
computer
wall
near.
to where I thought a window was going to be, but I hadn't. I don't know if that says more about the headset or about me. But speaking of apps, we got to get into the weaknesses. And the app situation on Vision Pro right now is one of them. So this is the home screen of the Vision Pro. It has all of your apps. You can't rearrange them. It's always alphabetical. And this is a developing situation that will record and improve over time. But as of right now, as I record this on launch day, there are literally 600 apps made for the Vision Pro. And that sounds like a lot at first, but then kind of not a lot. There are also the millions of other apps that are made for the iPad that are compatible with the Vision Pro that will show up, but there's 600 apps made specifically for the Vision Pro. The few apps that are showing up here are pretty incredible, and they all kind of find unique and creative ways to take advantage of the 3D space. And I fully believe the rest of the developers are also kind of still trying to figure out what to do with the 3D space in their own apps, or even if it makes sense to do anything at all beyond the normal iPad app. But at this point right now, today, I honestly believe that there are way more cool ideas about VR and AR experiences than there are actual apps. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some cool apps. And like I said, I've shown some in the past video. There are some more in this video, and there will be more that pop up every day. But have you seen that video of gamifying vacuum cleaning so that you can actually cover your entire floor space like a game? It's not a real app, but if it was, it would be pretty sick, and I would totally use it. Or maybe you've seen that other video of watching an F1 race in Vision Pro. It is so sick. It's like there's a virtual track overlaid into your space so you can keep track of everything happening at once, plus the times and, smaller video feeds of the battles around different points of the track. This looks genuinely better than the actual TV broadcast experience, but it's also not a real app yet. It's just a concept. And I've seen all kinds of other stuff, and I want to watch an NBA game courtside in the Vision Pro too, but that experience doesn't seem to exist yet either. Whatever it is about like Apple jumping into this new space and all the implications of like, oh, okay, the tech is going to start to get better now. This sort of unlocked this new creative layer for people to dream of new AR and VR.
That F1 thing looked fucking super cool. Like,
yeah, what? Dude, if you could watch Counter-Strike like in a way in like an AR thing where you have like all the screens up at once.
and you could like point out a player and then see their thing pop. Because that was like, because when you looked at a specific car, like that car cam, their like dash cam popped up, and like that's like an experience that also like for that it's such a big, like the cameras only show so many cars at once, so you can't really see what's happening everywhere on the thing at once. Same with like Counter-Strike, where it's like there's 2 bomb sites, so like if you could look at one bomb site and then see what's happening there, and then look at the other one and like control the cameras, like that would be super sick. But sounds like that's all proof of concept and doesn't actually exist yet.
Right. I feel like they could do that really cool for most sporting events. You could do kind of like a cool AR experience.
Yeah.
I like his idea also of like sitting courtside for like a major game. Like I could see that being a future, like, if enough people have headsets like this and there is an audience for people like, to want to see sporting events from like the front row and stuff. I could see
it's
like
also
AR cameras sitting there.
From a like production side, you can sell one ticket for one seat to like hundreds of people. So like you can make you can fit more than one person in a seat, which seems like a no-brainer as far as like money made for them. So I feel like eventually that will definitely exist, but this technology is so new, I don't think developers were ready for it.
That's the big like, because I worked in VR for like 4 or 5 years in back when like the first headsets kind of like were getting some popularity, like the HTC Vive and stuff. And that was like the big thing. Like there's a lot of investor interest and money in the space. And then we would make stuff that was commissioned for like quite a bit of money. But there was no audience for it because like there's just not enough people with headsets for there
at
to
the
be
time
like,
is also
an audience.
pretty expensive and like obscure to have a headset. But I don't know. I feel like that's actually kind of
It's
with like
getting there.
the Quest 3 and stuff. Like you're starting to see
The Quest
also
3, yeah, $500 is like that's the same price as like an Xbox One or a PS5.
if Apple can get like a non-pro version too, like Apple's very good at getting into like people that are not into hardcore computer shit's hands. Like, so I feel like the people still even getting Quest and stuff are pretty like tech forward. But like,
Yeah.
you got to wait until it's like, you know, your grandma can use it. Like my grandma uses a smartphone and Facebook and all that shit. Like, once it gets to that level, then I feel like you can really start selling experiences because you'll find an audience for them. But
Yeah.
it's definitely
It's
still a
far
big
from
difference
there still.
today
That's
than
like
it
years
was
away.
when you first got your Vive. I still feel like VR is much more like mainstream now than it was then. Like,
That's true. I mean, the Vive that I also got, that's effectively like a developer tool. That wasn't really like a consumer product. Although, I mean, they sold it to consumers. It's still like an $800 thing. Like, I don't know. It's definitely not like on par with what the experiences are now. Like, you know, being able to buy a full self-contained thing that you don't need a computer to use is the other side of it. You know, like my Vibe, you also needed like a really nice computer to run.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep
Because
running.
it's basically just the monitor.
We got 2 more sections, and then we can do our giveaway and Grubfish
experiences, and it'll be up to developers to actually make that stuff happen over time with the constraints of today's technology. But as of right now, not a lot of apps. Also, no YouTube app, no Netflix app, there's no Spotify app, there's no TikTok app yet. I hope that Apple can sort of patch up the relationship with these developers, because getting those apps will make this a better product. But as of right now, that is definitely a weakness of this first-gen product. All right.
I think he says in the other video, you can use a web browser. So like you can watch Netflix through Safari or whatever. So even though there is no Netflix
that's
app,
true.
anything that has a browser version, you just can't use this specific app version.
Yeah, there's no YouTube app, but you can just pull up YouTube on the fucking Safari browser.
Yeah, anything you can pull through a browser is fine, but then you don't have all the features the app has. So there's like specific things he liked about the YouTube app where he's like, yeah, that doesn't exist on the browser.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not the only one who's been saying this, but this is not the most comfortable headset. And I figured out why. So first of all, everyone's mentioned the weight, and it's true. It does weigh like 25% more than a lot of other headsets. Like take the Quest 3, for example, probably the most popular one, familiar to most people. That's mostly plastic, and it weighs 515 grams. So Vision Pro, being made of metal and having all this glass, weighing in at nearly 650 grams, it kind of seems like Apple just didn't care about the weight. But I don't think that's the case. Matter of fact, if you've seen the teardowns or if you've seen what's inside this little computer here on your face, this is built incredibly efficiently. There's carbon fiber in here, magnesium, all sorts of other lightweight materials. Now, there's still lots of obvious heft on it, but 25% more weight shouldn't be the difference between comfortable and like, I need to do neck exercises. No, the problem is this strap. This is the Solo Knit strap. This is the strap that's in all the commercials that everybody sees. This is what's on Apple's website. It's in all the Apple stores because it looks so cool. And I think when Apple was probably first deciding, okay, we're going to get into this VR headset market, how do we differentiate ourselves? We got to reinvent a few things like the input method and all this stuff. I think they thought the strap had to be one of them. And that's how we got this thing. And I think Dave 2D was spot on in his recent video. VR headsets just kind of all look dumb, and the straps on them are all so universally lame looking. And this strap is just so much cooler. You put it on, it's the quickest to adjust. It messes up your hair the least. It obviously has this little adjustment thing on the outside, so you can scroll this wheel and satisfyingly like tighten the cables inside. Like this must have taken a lot of R&D to get this thing to look iconic and actually be functional. This is sick. But when you put it on, you sort of tighten it up against the front of your face, and it's squeezing it up against your face, all of the weight up at the front against basically these two pressure points, right above your eyes and right on your cheeks. And the more you tighten it to prevent light leak, the more uncomfortable it gets. And it's so hard to wear this for more than about 30, 45 minutes. After 45 minutes, I really do need to take this off. So it's not your neck as much as it's just all the pressure on the front of your face. And Apple knows this, and that's why they've included in the box this second band. This is the dual loop band, and it's super easy to pop this one off and pop this one on. Now it's not as
They just
cool
don't show
looking
the
as a
ugly
solo
one
knit
'cause
band, and it's
They're like they have the same stupid ass looking fucking strap for actual functionality, but they include the cool looking one just like because aesthetics matter a lot in Apple marketing.
And that's what's in all the commercials and stuff too.
Yeah,
And what's going on, Kitty? We're looking
that
at
that looks a
Apple
million
Vision
times shittier. Honestly, that picture there, that looks so much fucking lamer.
the other one does seem cool for like fast use if you're like just want to hop on and do a quick FaceTime call or something. Like it's probably fine to use the other one, but if you're going to do like an hour-long editing or gaming session, it probably makes sense. And also, I don't know.
Sure.
Personally, I don't really care what I look like. You're going to look lame looking you doing VR no matter what head. Like,
Yeah, you have a fucking computer strapped to your face. Like
you're going to look stupid either way. So I don't really care if I look slightly more stupid personally.
Same. I also
going to
don't
mess
need
up
the
your
like,
hair.
front of the thing, the display on the outside. Like I don't know. I'd rather put like a sticker on the front of mine or something. Although you shouldn't do that because it has sensors that are sensitive and would rather not have stickers in front of them.
What are you saying? Instead of what?
Instead of like having a front-facing display too on the outside of the headset, it's just like I don't need that shit. That's really like. It seems like you can cut the weight down by not having that. Like make it lighter by just like getting rid of that screen.
I also wouldn't need people to see an image of my eyes on the outside. That seems like just excessive extra.
Yeah, freaky.
Than the solo knit band, and it's not as easy to adjust as a solo knit band. You're literally like trying to find and attach Velcro blindly at the top of your head. Basically, it's almost as lame looking as every other VR headset strap, but it turns out they all look like this for a reason, and oh my god, is it so much better for wearing it for a long time. I just recently did the last episode of the Waveform podcast. You can go subscribe over there. I wore the headset for the entire thing, a 2-hour recording, and I could never have done that with the solo knit band. And that's because it's taking a ton of the pressure off of the front of your face and taking the weight and using the top of your head to support it instead. It's so much better. So if you're going to just hand the headset to someone to use it for like 5 minutes, the solo knit band is great because it's super quick, doesn't mess up their hair, easy to adjust, boom. But if you plan on using this thing for an extensive period of time, yeah, the dual loop band is 100% the way to go.
Yeah, I have a Kitty is saying her headset gets heavy and annoying too. I have an HTC Vibe and it also has like the over the head thing. And I've done like, multiple hour gaming sessions with that, but it's definitely like it leaves imprints on my face after a while. Like after an hour or so, it's heavy, like the band helps, but it's still like on your face, like right on
I feel
your
like
fucking.
It gets sweaty like ski goggles.
It gets
like
sweaty
has,
too.
like,
that was my issue.
You get just like a layer of friggin' sweat going around your face.
The band.
I've used it after Max
the band
a few times. It's been drenched.
Yeah, for sure. I used to play we used to take turns playing, and like we'd pass it around, and like when it's your turn, it would definitely be wet. Like you dry it a bit, but it's still like cold and wet, and the previous person's sweat is in there.
Yeah, it's gross for a couple
great.
seconds, and then you get into it and you forget about it.
Yeah, then you get fully immersed, and it just like goes
Then
away.
your sweat takes over. And then you're
Exactly.
good.
Yeah. Your body temperature heats up the sweat that's already there to the same temp as your sweat. You don't even notice anymore. Gross.
So I don't know if the eyes on the outside of this headset are actually accomplishing what Apple probably wanted them to accomplish. I think this again comes down to what we expect Vision Pro to be in the future. See-through glasses, way down the line. But that's obviously not possible with today's tech. So the closest we can get is a lenticular display that shows your eyes to the outside world, and so that you can see them and they can kind of see you. I don't know. At this point, I've tried my eyes, but also everyone else here at the studio has also scanned themselves in and tried eyesight, and it's just not very visible. Like the smooth glass of the headset is so incredibly reflective that there's almost always some light bouncing off it in a way that makes the eyes hard to see. And even if you can see it, it's pretty low resolution thanks to the lenticular display. And the bottom line is it doesn't actually feel like eye contact most of the time, which is very different from what you might have seen in the ads, especially for darker skin tones. And I was actually thinking about this, like this is so far from what I think I expected that I was wondering, does Apple in the next generation Vision Pro double down on eyesight, or do they get rid of it? And I think they have to keep it. Like it's such an iconic part of the headset that everyone's expecting it to stay. So it's got to be there. But also, this is Vision Pro. And I think that implies that we're going to get Apple Vision at some point down the road, which is like a less expensive version of this. And with that, do you take out eyesight? Or does that still appear in the lower end version? I don't know. Only time will tell.
I feel like take it out. That's probably adding so much cost to have like an extra screen on your thing.
I would take it out. A lenticular screen is also like, that's two separate screens that are like being basically like refracted through like polarized glass. So you could lose two screens and a piece of polarized glass to cut the weight down.
Weight and also cost, because I'm sure that shit's not cheap.
Yeah. Like I don't need the external screen. Plus, it probably improve your battery life if you're not running another screen and all that shit.
I would consider this if they had like a non-pro version that was more reasonably cost. So I do think like I do my editing stuff on a Mac, and like him showing like how you can pop the screens up and like edit, like that looks pretty sick. Also, like the screen is probably better than my monitor. Like the sounds like the resolution and stuff in there is just nuts.
Yeah, it does sound like that would be really cool to do. How much would you pay for like a non-pro product though? Would it still have to be like around $500-600, right?
Yeah, I think it'd have to be, because once it gets to like 1,000, then it's like I can buy a computer for that much. Like,
yeah, that's where I'm sitting too. So it's like 1,000 is a little much for like, because it's like an auxiliary edition. It's not like its own computer.
If it gets to like 2,000, then I can get an Apple Pro monitor, and I'd rather just have a really nice monitor because I'm going to use that more than a headset anyway.
And I feel like the fucking Meta Quest is in that sweet spot for pricing where it's like, man, that price is like, I'm probably going to cave at some point. Like $500 is not cheap, but it's also not like inaccessible. I have to like refinance my life for that, you know?
Yeah, that's also like what you pay for a next gen console or like gaming
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. Yeah, it's like, okay, it's like either an Xbox or a fucking VR headset. And it's like, that makes sense. Whereas like the Vision Pro is like either the Vision Pro or your entire home computer setup, which is like,
or a car. Like,
yeah, that's true. My first car was like around.
Crazy.
Like I got my first car for $5,000, so that's close.
So, all right, look, at the end of the day, when I'm answering those texts about what do people want to know what I really think about Vision Pro, I think the Vision Pro is a really expensive, really fun toy. Like, this is an incredibly fun piece of tech to play with. And I am loving watching the pieces of media built specifically for Vision Pro. I am loving playing some of the new early games that are taking advantage of the 3D space and the hand controls. I am loving the idea of getting on a plane and editing videos on my Mac or watching a movie on a gigantic screen while the person next to me can't see any of what I'm doing. That stuff is all so sick. And if you're actually thinking about buying one, I think you should be able to expect to enjoy all of that same stuff too. But definitely still note that all of the symptoms of a first generation product are definitely also still here. It's heavy. It's not a lot of apps. The battery life is meh, and it's expensive. So here's the bigger question. Is the Vision Pro a guaranteed success in the future? Because the first generation iPhone had all of the same downfalls in its generation, and look at where we are now. So also, same with the watch, same with the iPad. But here's the thing. You can't just say the other stuff had problems and it became successful, therefore this one having problems also means it's successful. It doesn't work that way. There has to be something about this that people actually like that makes them willing to overlook the first generation downfalls. And I think this has it. I think it has. I honestly, it's kind of just the sci-fi fun nature of like controlling things with your hands, moving windows around the room. The sci-fi movie energy you've seen. You're probably already thinking of a certain movie that has that sort of energy. This has that. And the fact that these ideas of what people want to do in VR are so universally well liked and so cool, that means that there's something here. There's something that people want even in this first generation. Now, will all this new attention on VR headsets in general shine a lot of light on all of the other much cheaper competitors that you should probably buy instead of this one, like the $500 Quest 3? Yeah. Now, will all this new developer attention in this VR AR space bring a lot of way cooler, way more awesome applications that will rapidly improve the value proposition of this $3,500 first gen headset? Yeah. Should you go out and buy one of these if you've got the money and you saw one or two really cool looking apps that you want to try from the videos? Sure, why not? It's your money. But I'm already very excited for the next generation. Thanks for watching.
I feel like he does a pretty good breakdown of that.
All
It's
right,
like,
so you've seen the unboxing.
Yeah.
it's cool.
I would say
it's
now
a
that we've
toy.
seen the two like broken down, like between the Meta and then we've seen now the Apple Vision Pro, right? And I think the point that Mark Zuckerberg made in his comparison video was probably my favorite, where it's like they're both delivering similar experiences, and like the downfalls of both I think are, or at least the downfalls of the like shortcomings of the like Quest are definitely like overlookable, considering it costs about a seventh of the price point. You know, it's 500 instead of 3,500. But at the end of the day, the big like takeaway or big like competition isn't necessarily between like the Vision Pro or the Meta Quest, but more about like the platform itself being like an open platform versus a closed platform for development, where like the Meta Quest is like easy to build on as a developer and as a third party person, and then the Vision Pro is like everything has to come through Apple and the App Store, and it is a closed environment for, so it's like, you know, you probably have more seamless and better generally a better like user experience on the closed product, but it's way more limited. And then you know, the open product might be a little slightly more janky or whatever, but it's so open and customizable that you can, you know, really make it your own. So at the end of the day, it comes down to what like side of the tech do you rather participate in, like the open or the closed one. And you know, Meta Quest being the open and the Apple being the closed side, similar to like, you know, phones with like, you know, Google being like the open OS and Apple being the closed OS.
Trying to find the footage he had of like when someone talks to him, like their face just appears, but it's somewhere in
Yeah,
this
what
40-minute
happened?
video. I'm not going to
Where
watch
was
the whole
that?
thing. It was in this video somewhere, but I don't know where in the video.
It's definitely I feel like that is though like kind of accurate, that that's the real battle here isn't like Apple versus Meta, but more like open platform versus closed platform. Like, what are the people gonna want more? And like back in the day when like smartphones first came out, like I got an Apple like iPhone, the first generation one, like the first one that came out, and I was like, you know, floored by it all. And I kept buying it until like generation 3 or so, until I kind of got tired of the whole cycle of like they make your phone get shittier and you have to replace it to like keep up with the newest phones if you want that like user experience. And then I switched to like Google, like an Android phone for a while, and I figured that like, you know, customers would get tired of that model of like the closed model where like, oh, we're releasing a new product, so your existing product becomes obsolete, so you need to upgrade. But I was way the fuck off. Like Apple has done, you know, gained way more market share than since Android, although Android's still like the majority of the market. Apple has grown and people are definitely on board for that closed product experience. So
I like
wonder
my,
how it goes
my
this time
Apple
around.
phone personally.
I do too.
And
I'm
I have an
back on
Apple
the Apple
computer.
train. Hey, I'm back on the Apple train now, dude. And like the way I do it now is like I just pay for like every 2 year it automatically like a free upgrade is included in like the way that I buy the phone. So it's like I'm expecting to replace this phone every 2 years.
Even
but
though
when I first
phones
got into it,
also
like
shit out, like I feel like, I don't know, even with like the apps and stuff, and like like by the time you need to replace your phone, like you'd probably be replacing your phone anyway. Like technology moves so fast and gets better so quickly. Like
Yeah, exactly.
no reason to have like
So
an 8-year-old
so
phone.
in that model where you do have to replace your hardware every 2 years, I think the closed version works best. Because I do think that like when you buy the latest Apple phone, it does feel like that's the best phone experience on the market at that time. You know, and I've felt like, at least, I mean, I've tried the Windows phone for a while. I've tried the like Android phone for a while, and I did come back to Apple, and I do think Apple has that thing down. It's just you have to stay up with the latest hardware, and that's, like I said, I thought people weren't gonna like put up with that, but people absolutely do put up with that. So, you know,
And
I'm
also
not
like
the best
once
guesser.
you get into Apple, the way everything just works seamlessly together is unlike other
That's
ecosystems where
true.
like when I get a new computer or a new phone, just all of my shit is there that I want. It's all saved to the cloud and all. I don't know. When I
Yeah,
install a new Windows computer, it feels more like I'm starting from scratch, which I actually
I thought
kind
that
of
was
like.
crazy because Paul got like a new laptop, like in Portland, a new Apple laptop, and like I don't know, they did some shit, and then like by that night he had all his editing stuff, everything was like running again, and it's just like, damn, that if I had just gotten a new Windows computer, that would take me like a couple days to set everything up again and like migrate all my data. So
So I
that
don't
is
know.
pretty cool.
They both have their pluses. I think the only thing I like Windows better for personally is gaming. Like everything else I prefer my
That's
Mac
true.
stuff for. But
And that's kind
it,
of like the catch here, I think, is that I think gaming has always been better on the open side of those platforms because it's open to more developers to build more games. And at the end of the day, I think like the headset, even though you know Apple's calling it a spatial computer, not a VR headset, at the end of the day, it is like it's for gaming first
that's
and
what I would
foremost.
want it for. I mean, other
Yeah,
people might want it for the editing and the FaceTime stuff, which is why I'm saying like they need a better use case for it for like the average person because the average person is probably getting a VR headset to play games, and that's not what the Apple Pro is going to do better than the Vive or not the Vive, but the MetaQuest.
yeah. I prefer Windows, by the way, BuzzKing. Windows is more compatible with everything. Plus the fact that like all of my computers at this point are like more than 10 years old, and I've just replaced components of them. I didn't have to like buy new hardware every fucking like few years. That I love. You know, my computers still fuck today, and they're like Z420 HPs from like 2005 or something. Like,
My iMac lasted a long time. It was a 2013 or 2014. It lasted like a decade. And honestly, the
yeah,
only reason
that's
it stopped
true.
working is because Mac did the thing where like I couldn't update to the newest operating system, so I just couldn't update my apps because then like Logic.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean about their whole like system. It's like designed to be like if you want to keep like, you know, up to date and keep working with your stuff, you have to keep up with the hardware.
I don't know. The computer is not running smoothly either, though. Like I probably needed to replace it on the hardware side anyway. Like a 10-year-old computer is hardly functional, but yeah, I don't know. I got a lot of good work in on that computer, and it lasted an amount of time that I was like, it's not like it was like 3 years and then I needed to buy a new computer. Like a decade is a long time for electronics.
Yeah. I think this is totally like the argument I was thinking too that BuzzKing's making is like that's basically the argument between like the open and the closed system. Like Apple is just a closed system. Everything works incredibly well with itself, but you're stuck within the closed system. Whereas like Windows and then like by extension like MetaQuest in the sense of like, you know, with the VR headset stuff is the open system where it's like, you know, it works with anything and you can like patch it together and build it like way more custom to your own needs. Whereas Apple is like, oh, it's already tailored to those needs and those needs will be met out of the fucking box. Whereas like the open version of it is like, oh, you want your needs met. Yeah, Windows will meet those needs. And like the open side of this tech will, you just have to put it together. You know, Windows kind of, or Apple like sells it already like packaged to the end consumer, which I think that is what people love, where it's just so simple and it just works. Like that's what my parents like. You know, they're old, not super tech literate, so they're all Apple, but all of their shit is Apple. And if like a new product comes out that isn't Apple, like they're probably not interested because it doesn't work with their whole like existing setup.
I'm not even as worried about that. I like the Apple software. Like I think Logic is my favorite DAW. It's the best editing software, and you literally can't get it on Windows. And also Final Cut. I've used Premiere a lot. Like I use Premiere mostly when I have to mix sound for other people. I use their projects and their files, and the amateur stuff I work on is edited in Premiere primarily, and I think Logic or Final Cut is a
Premiere-
better software.
Premiere is Adobe, right?
But I
Yeah,
prefer
I
Final
use that
Cut.
on Windows.
Final Cut
Oh,
is
Final Cut. Okay.
Mac only. Like I have both, or I have access to both, and I choose to edit all of my own stuff into Final Cut, even though, and it's not like, oh, I don't know how to use Premiere, because that's how for Logic was for a while. It's just like I have thousands of hours in Logic, so I'm so much faster than the other apps that it's just a comfortability thing. But it's like I haven't used Final Cut more than I've used Premiere. I still prefer Final Cut. I just think it's a better interface and a better
Yeah.
editing experience. There's stuff in there that's like, especially for audio. I don't know why every fucking thing doesn't do this, but it automatically crossfades audio. So if I put one audio track next to another, it just crossfades it. Like when you do that in
you have to
Premiere,
add it yourself.
it goes, it makes a click noise every fucking time if you don't crossfade it. It's like
Yeah, you have
when
to
I'm editing
manually
audio,
cross
I'm
it.
doing that 1,000 times. Like the amount of time it saves me, I just do it automatically. It's like, why wouldn't every program do this automatically? Like, and there's just stuff like that where it's like, in my experience, it's like it just their software always is just like slightly a leg up for user experience. Like they understand it from like the creative side more so than like, I don't know, but it's not that different. Like I still use Premiere. I'm fine with Premiere, but
Yeah.
Logic I think is pretty great. I think Logic is the shit. And I know how to use Pro Tools. I know how to use Reason. I know how to use all the other ones, but
Yeah. I guess I've used Linux and Windows most often in like professional environments too. Even though like a lot of art is definitely like catered to for Windows, like bigger studios won't use Macs because they don't work well with like huge networks apparently. Like is what they've told me. They're like, oh yeah, you can't like have like 500 Mac computers on the same network with like it's like an issue because they all like communicate in a weird way. So I was like, that's weird. But I know like Disney was like a place where if you wanted to work on Windows, Mac, or Linux, you just let the production know, and then they'll set up your workstation in whatever. So like certain studios are just like we have everything, and like it all runs in parallel. And I thought that was so crazy because I've only ever been at studios where it's like, okay, hey, we're Linux here, so figure it out. But then Disney Television Animation, they were just like, oh yeah, what's your preferred OS? Like we'll set up your workstation with your preferred OS. Which I was like, god damn.
I think that's how most music studios have to be. Like you have to have all of the DAWs because if your client wants to come in and record on their software that they've been recording on, you have to just be able to open every project file. So you have to like most professional recording studios have a PC and a Mac so they can do different ones.
What I've
depending
seen
on-
a lot is like studios that have also mostly it's 3, and it's like there'll be a very small like Mac section for certain like art stuff that gets done, and then like majority of like the in-house artists and stuff are running on Windows machines, and then like the IT side and like the server is all running on Linux. Is generally what I've seen. Like server stuff almost always is done in Linux, but that's also
I'm gonna do this
because
giveaway real quick.
I think that's because like most major like enterprise kind of like Fortune 500 companies who run their server systems also do that shit in Linux. So Linux has like the most battle tested infrastructure for that kind of stuff. Ooh, Dre with the red
I feel like
tail.
coding nerds love Linux. Like when you talk to people that are really into coding, like Linux is a popular option.
Linux always made me feel like a badass because like there's a studio I worked at where we did like the Revenant stuff. Their stuff was all Linux, and like the way you would even just launch the program, like you know if you're gonna launch a nuke or whatever, it was like you bring up command prompt and type in a thing to launch it.
Yeah, I'm
So
not
it
into
always
Linux.
feels
Linux
like-
has such a shitty UI. Like
Yeah,
the UI is not intuitive.
like sending stuff to the render
Oh
farm. you'd have to,
no,
like,
Dre fucking spun into
the
it.
red tail. I thought you were gonna represent. I also have a red tail.
Buzz King, congrats.
I was in the Nova Pangea pack break stream this morning, and I got like at the end I did their Crittercraft, and I was the only one with the tail, and it was red, and I was like, yeah, baby, represent.
Let's see. I will send you. I think we got some of those Sune promos. The Sune loves Seattle or whatever it is. Buzz King. Oops, I hit the wrong button. Transfer. Yeah, we got a couple of these left. They give you mint 112. Sune Love Seattle, Emerald City Comic Con 2024 promo. I believe that starts tonight. If you happen to be in Seattle,
shit. I think you're right.
go check out Priscilla's booth and get a cool pin. She's got a run of limited 100 pins for Sune with coffee. All right, let's get into some off the rail stuff. Got deep into tech talk. Need a palette cleanser.
Yeah, what we got?
I got a palette cleanser that's before I get into all the other videos, just because I posted it like last night or the other night, where it's a guy that's been featured on a podcast. I had to scroll through like 1,000 fucking posts on Instagram to find the right video too, and I watched. My Instagram algorithm is going to be fucking just gone. Like I had to click on way too many videos, but the guy's called like a double shaman or something, like, but he's got some health tips that we'd like to show you. This is not health advice. Do not take this guy's advice.
He's gonna be like semen.
So me and Brian Crew just taught a really juicy anus workshop today and got a little bit into the prostate too. And that caused some pre-cum to be secreted from my manhood. So a little bit of sperm detail, a little bit of testosterone, a little bit of spermidine, which is good for muscle growth, a little bit of nerve growth factor, which is really good for your brain and your nervous system. What else came out? A little bit of vitamins, minerals, oxytocin, and bonding hormone, which lowers cortisol. So not only am I getting the benefit of the urine therapy, which is powerful on its own, the Shivambu, I should call it, but I'm also getting the benefit of the sperm, the semen, tiny bit of semen that's been mixed in with my urine.
Whoa!
Oh, wow. That's very, very potent. I love this.
Whoa, kinky.
He's convinced that drinking your urine is good for you. He's like, you get extra vitamins. It's like, nah, bro. When you pee, you're peeing out the shit your body does not need. You don't need to put that stuff back into your body. But then he's also like, I fucking was working out and like somehow got fucking pre-cum coming out of my dick while working out with my buddies. So that's coming out with my pee. So it's giving me extra nutrients. Yeah, this guy is a lunatic, but
I'll
have to find the videos too. I couldn't find them. I think a lot of the stuff gets taken down for like spreading bad health information. But he has one where it's like talking about how you should like sniff your buddy's nut sacks. He's like, yeah, like if you like smell each other's assholes and nuts, like it increases your testosterone. He's like, the fucking ancient Greeks used to wrestle naked and stuff, and like it's good for like male bonding and stuff. And like it's all very like homoerotic, and like it's basically just like this guy's trying to like find ways to be gay, but like find medical reasons for it. Where it's like it's okay to just do gay stuff, guy. Like you don't need to convince us all it's a health thing. Like if you want to fucking sniff your buddy's butthole, like just go do that for fun. You don't need to convince us that it's like
you don't have to like convince other people to do it for health reasons.
But it seems like his entire existence is like going way out of his way to try to justify like gay stuff. It's like on top of drinking his own pee, which is not gay but weird.
I didn't really get what was happening in the beginning with his prostate. He was like he had something up his butt and it made him pre-cum or something, and then he peed.
Let's watch it again.
So me and Brian Crew just taught a really juicy anus workshop today.
They taught an anus workshop.
An anus
probably
workshop.
Like clenching your anus, or maybe smelling each other's butts. I told you he's into that. So
a really
like that.
Juicy anus workshop. Okay, I'm on board already.
He's into like anal sunning too, like where you aim your butthole at the sun and like get naked.
I saw that in that Netflix show by those dudes.
Yeah, I think they're doing it as a joke, but this guy legitimately believes in it.
And got a little bit into the prostate too, and that caused.
The favorite part of this is he just hears urine trickling while he's talking about it. Like, what's that water?
So he's like peeing right there.
He's
so that's
actively
like
peeing into the thing while this is going.
Oh my! I missed that the first time around.
Some pre-cum to be secreted from my manhood. So a little bit of sperm detail, a little bit of testosterone, a little bit of spermidine, which is good for muscle growth, a little bit of nerve growth factor, which is really good for your brain and your nervous system.
I also wonder if any of that's true. Like, is he just making this stuff up? Because all his videos, it's like seems like he's trying to scientifically back his stuff, but it's like I don't know if I fucking trust this guy to be like on the ball with his science. Well, maybe
I don't know.
maybe everybody should be drinking their own pee and sperm. Like I don't know.
You don't have to drink your own. You can just suck someone else off, huh?
That's true.
What else came out? A little bit of vitamins, minerals, oxytocin, and bonding hormone, which lowers cortisol. So not only am I getting the benefit of the urine therapy, which is powerful on its own, the Shivambu I should call it, but I'm also
urine therapy. That's not.
He has another name for it too. There's like that's 3 different names for drinking piss.
Getting the benefit of the sperm, the semen, tiny bit of semen that's been mixed in with my urine. Oh, wow. That's very, very potent. I love it.
Very, very potent.
I could find some more of his stuff.
It's why it tastes good to him is because semen is another type of milk.
I saw him on Your Mom's House podcast, though. Same with Tom Segura, which he's going to be on there and they're going to interview him. I can't wait for that. Probably find him some more clips for that. But that's why I was looking for that specific clip that they play on Your Mom's House all the time. But like, he has, let me see, 4,000 posts. And that was the very first post on his thing. I had to scroll through 4,000 fucking things. And a lot of them look the same. So I was watching a bunch of these trying to find that one. I was like, what's one where his face is red? And there's a bunch where his face is red. I found another one where he's like singing while drinking his own pee. That's pretty strange. But he posts 15 times a day. This guy's out of control.
Damn. Is he drinking pee in like most of them?
A lot of them are just, I mean, they're all weird. I don't know. Maybe next week I'll come back with more videos. So I want to find the other ones they put on Your Mom's House. He's also big and just like hang out naked with his buddies is like one of his.
Pull like a random one up. Let's see what just kind of shit there.
So
are they just stroking off?
I want you to release any remaining.
Through our sacred bond, we release generations of gay panic, paving the way for 7 generations before us.
Through sound and breath.
Scrotal technologies.
9 seconds.
Oh my God.
There we go. No worries.
I don't know. He's getting rid of something.
Looked like he was jerking it at the beginning and then dry heaving by the end.
Okay, here we go.
Why would you have the desire to lick your bestest bro's hairy scrotum? It's so salty down there. It's so musky. It's so masculine. Why would you have the desire to eat a nice, tight, puffy pussy? Spreading those labial folds and licking that beautiful little clitoris? Why would you want to do that? How is that evolutionarily adaptive? Well, science is proving, modern day science is proving that there are L. reuteri bacteria living on the ball sack and living deep inside the beautiful crevices of your girlfriend's vagina. And in preclinical trials, they are proving that when you lick this beautiful bacteria out of the crevices of your girlfriend, or when you suck or teabag the beautiful, well-developed hairy scrotum of your alpha bro's sack, you get a dose of this L. reuteri, and it causes your balls to swell and bulge with testosterone. So lick those sacks and suck.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah,
I don't think I feel like it's about getting your partner off. Like the reason you're like licking pussy lips and shit is like it gets her off. The reason you're licking like someone's ball sack, it gets him off.
Bacteria to increase your own testosterone.
Yeah, what? This guy's like, oh yeah, the reason I like eat pussy or like suck dick is like I'm trying to get that sweet bacteria off there. It's like, nah, dude. The whole point is like it gets you off because it gets them off. Like it has nothing to do with like evolutionary bacteria. Like what the
Here's
fuck?
a great image he has. Have you butt chugged the sun today? Just him naked.
Oh my God.
Yeah, this guy's all of his views are just crazy. Like this one says the Spartans. Let's see what this is gonna say about the Spartans.
There's fucking ball sacks.
Okay.
Shit, didn't do it fast enough. No.
Fucking sucked each other's fucking ball sacks, bro. They would stimulate their hummus cannons by rubbing the mushrooms together, and they had really, really long fucking foreskins. Back in those days, the longer the foreskin, the more beautiful your cock was seen to be by your wife and your bestest bros in the gymnasium. Gymnos means nude. And so what they would do is they would stretch their foreskins, and even the Jewish guys would get in on the action, because back then the rabbis would only snip a tiny bit of the Jewish dudes' foreskins off. And so the Jewish dudes, to participate with the Greek dudes, would stretch the remaining foreskin. But then the rabbis found out, and the fucking rabbis said, no, we're going to change the rules. We're going to make it really, really high and tight. But that's another story. The point of this...
Dude, the rabbis are getting together and discussing how much foreskin to remove. I didn't realize that was going on.
But yeah, maybe next week I'll get more of these videos. I want to vet some of them because some of them are just like weird. He gets like, he's very into like foreskin stuff, which I'm not so into those, where he talks about how like foreskin is better than being circumcised. And he also like gotten a bunch of weird anti-vaccine fucking like that's a lot of his posts. So scrolling through his shit through years of thousands of posts is like there's hundreds of posts. So it's like, yeah, I'm not trying to watch that content, but I want to find the ones where he's talking about like the Romans and like they used to like sniff each other's butts before battle. Like, again, don't know how factually accurate any of it is, but it's fascinating to me.
That's too funny.
All right, let's do some other off the rail stuff. We got 30 minutes until Paul has to do his thing.
It's possible that they also just like were trying to get down, like, you know, gay out a bit before, like let off some tension. Like you're about to go fight with swords. Like, I feel like the tension is pretty high. It's not unrealistic to be like, yeah, some people just fucked.
Yeah, I think
as like a stress relief.
Again, like I think his entire existence is trying to like over justify doing sexual stuff, where it's like it's okay to just like want to do sexual stuff for fun. Like you don't need to have
you can just be a horny dude.
Stuff like that.
That's fine.
But
that's kind of it can be hot. Just lean into that instead of this weird
his
shit.
website's pretty bizarre too. He says he's like a sexual martial artist or something. He's like, I'm one of like 3 trained sexual martial. Like, I don't think it's a real thing, man. I don't think you get certified in that, but interesting guy.
He's like, I can take you down just with my penis.
X gon' give it to you. Fuck, wait for you to get it on your own. X gon' deliver to you. Knock, knock.
We definitely can't play that. But this is a pretty great video.
I love this.
Too bad it's copyrighted music, because that was pretty great.
Yeah. That's like Exhibit's main. Or DMX's main.
X gonna give it to you. Then he's gonna pimp your ride. What is this? I never realized how similar Mark Ruffalo and John C. Reilly voices are.
Voices are really similar when you know what to listen for. For example, Mark Ruffalo and John C. Reilly are 2 in about a group of 10 that I'll try and explain. First off, there's 2 voice elements I use to add and subtract to these characters to make them sound different. Kermit the Frog and Fozzie Bear. Kermit's kind of a nasal thing, and Fozzie's in the back of the throat, which are also basically Ernie and Bert from Sesame Street. Oh, Bert, Ernie. John C. Reilly takes that Kermit the Frog voice and brings it down a little bit in the back of your throat, kind of like there's a bubble stuck there, and you have to talk around it to get the words out. Hey, man, did you touch my drum set? Don't go too far, it becomes Arnold. Did you touch my drum set? And if you go too deep, it becomes Ray Romano. Now, if you take John C. Reilly and you move it forward in your throat and up a little more nasally, and you start to contemplate comedically, I guess, it becomes Seth Rogen. The laugh is basically the Burt.
That's not bad either.
Frank Caliendo is like a very famous impressionist. He had a TV show on Comedy Central when we were growing up. This guy's not like an amateur. Like, he has made a living. I think he might have even been on like SNL or something too at one point. But
this guy's really nailing.
Been a professional impressionist for at least 20, 30 years.
So if you take Seth Rogen and add some Fozzie Bear and more airflow and what I call aw shucks genius, you get Mark Ruffalo. I can't believe I just figured that out. If you take Mark Ruffalo and get as serious as possible and bring it down more and more, well, I believe it becomes Paul Giamatti. Now here's the real kicker. You take Paul Giamatti, and while raising it back up to Mark Ruffalo, you add back in the John C. Reilly, and you get Joe Rogan. Jamie, pull up similarities in famous voices. A lot of voices.
Let's let's see when Frank Caliendo was on TV.
Damn,
I don't think
dude,
he's as
that guy
popular
got
anymore, but Frank Caliendo is like, I mean, I remember he had a show on Comedy Central.
shit. That was an impressive amount of.
He's on Mad TV. He wasn't on
Okay,
SNL, but adjacent.
that's definitely adjacent. Yeah.
Frank TV was 2007 to 2008. I thought it was on Comedy Central, but I guess it was on what network? TBS. Maybe like because you know how Comedy Central shows replays of shit. Because I don't think I was watching.
Yeah. Comedy
That's true.
Central's whole business model was like, let's just syndicate popular comedy shows and then like build a following that way. It worked.
Yeah, that's what I know him from. But yeah, I used to watch like YouTube videos of him back in 2007, 2008. Like that's when he was popping off. But he's been a pretty popular comedian for a while. He also does stand up, but I think his stand up is largely impressions. I don't know. I've never seen a stand up. But shout out to Frank Caliendo. And thank you, Natalie Mass, for posting that video.
Oh, I'm gonna jump into this fucking grub, dude. I want to see my red tail.
Let's see.
Goodbye, stranger.
Accurate descriptions that customers made for noises that their cars started to make. Customer states engine light comes on at times and sounds like a Star Wars speeder on acceleration.
Sound.
Customer states when you close the sliding door, it sounds like a cow. And this car was brought in as a customer says the transmission is starting to slip and sounds like a wild turkey.
It's pretty good.
Customer states passenger side running board sounds like a baby seal squealing. Customer states they can hear a fair.
How do you know the difference between a baby seal and a regular seal? Is that
I don't know. It just sounded like a regular seal to me.
Yeah.
Type noise at 30 miles per hour. Customer states their car sounds like an elk after they ran over something.
I don't know what an elk sounds like, to be honest. But
yeah, that's an elk. That's totally.
And this customer brought in their SUV as they said it sounds like the whale from SeaWorld when stepping on the brakes.
I thought whales had like deep sounds.
That's a pretty good whale
The
sound.
customer said their dashboard sounds like the intro to a Van Halen song.
That's hot for teacher. It does kind of.
Customer state.
Do you know that one? It starts with like a
That's
drum
pretty
intro. It's like a double bass drum intro. Hot for teacher, Van Halen. And let's not do the video because the music video has like a weird fucking intro. We just want, yeah.
That totally sounds like the Van Halen.
All right, that's probably all I can play, but that was very similar.
That's hilarious.
Car sounds like a marching band.
It does kind of sound like snare rolls.
That's pretty rhythmic. That's pretty good.
Customer states their car sounds like a violin finding key when driving. And this customer said their passenger window sounds like a machine gun.
That is not what your window should sound like.
It's a very slow machine gun. Sounds like his wife. Okay.
Chevy Traverse. Customer states my window sounds like Morse code.
Say like a fax machine or a printer or something.
Yeah, like a printer.
Fuck knows what Morse code sounds
Customer
like.
states driver's window sounds like a video game.
Oh, yeah. That's back on.
This customer's car sounds like the Super Mario jump sound effect. I hope you enjoyed this video, and you can submit clip.
That was pretty good. Thank you, Nautical
Those
Mass.
were all very spot on to the thing that he said that sounded like. Spot on.
Oh, the moment of truth. Let's see what happens when we put this thing on its own weight. Oh, wow. Both of the suspensions are actually quite soft. That is a nice ride right there. Oh. Everybody's always talking about how hard it's going to be to lean. Like, honestly, not that bad. Look how far I can lean that up. Oh! Yes.
This looks insane. This
Hold
looks
it so much,
like Mad Max.
Yeah, drive it now.
Like, they're actually a little too soft, really. Maybe not. I don't know. A little more preload. I think those will be perfect. All I need is
a little too soft. I feel like you could get hit by the back tire.
I do want to see him ride it, but maybe he hasn't done that yet. Maybe we're not there.
Ride it.
The building journey.
That thing looks nuts, dude.
Santa Monica, California, seemingly a world away from Washington, D.C., is where we found Chris Josephs and his different morning routine. Every day, Chris wakes up, makes a cup of coffee, and then alongside fellow internet sleuths, sifts through the stock trades members of Congress make.
It all started off as infuriating because you're like, what the like, how are they allowed to do it when other Americans can't?
As long as a trade is reported before 45 days, there's no law preventing members of the House or Senate from trading stocks, even if the bills they pass or committees they sit on could influence a company's stock price. Outrage.
That seems sus, you know.
Oh, that's been going on forever.
The stock prices, and there's fucking inside trade that shit.
That's business as usual in the United States Senate. Most of those people make their
At
money
first,
from insider trading.
Chris then saw an opportunity to get in on the action. He moved out west and with 3 friends launched the app Autopilot. It lets users follow a politician's trades and then copy them, automatically buying or selling the same stock a lawmaker does at whatever dollar amount they like.
That's where the money is? Yeah. The reason why we initially set out with the politicians was because they were killing it. They were killing it. Yeah. They were making a lot of the money. You're trying to get in on the money.
Sunny Santa
Pretty clever, to be honest. Just copy their trades because they're doing insider trading, and you could just trade what they're doing because they fucking have to announce it. Clever stuff.
Yeah, that's funny. There's quite a few people on Wall Street Bets who do that too, like follow Nancy Pelosi's trade moves and just like do the same shit.
Oh, this is 3D printing.
A lot of excess material.
That's cool. I like the magnets.
Oh, wow.
Can you see out of that? You wouldn't be able to. That's cool, though. It looked cool.
I feel like there's no way you can see out of that.
3D printing is pretty awesome. I hope we one day
It
get a
is.
3D
I really
printer.
want one of those. Those printers are fucking cool.
She went right in the water. That was a pretty
They
great
got her good, dude. They got her so good.
That was from Yamster. Thank you, Yamster. That was a great off the rails video.
They got her
I'm gonna
good,
watch that one more
Yamster.
time. I feel like that was a perfect short video. She looked so scared.
That's great.
Nothing like scaring an old lady.
It's true. It's risky.
What are you doing? It's my son. That's the light. That's the light? Yes.
I feel like that's 100% staged.
Staged
There's
as
no way
hell, but
that's
it's
real.
funny. I do
That one
like
was
a
also
good
for me. I'm sure he
stage.
knows Max likes his little people content.
I loved it. It's staged, but I liked seeing the guy trying to get the big guy's attention. He had to go pretty hard just to tap him.
This says GM has had to file.
Now had to file a lawsuit against San Francisco. San Francisco is trying to tax GM for $108 million over 7 years, despite the automaker having minimal sales and virtually no staff in the city. And the way the city is trying to do this is they're saying that the presence of the Cruise self-driving unit will link GM to San Francisco, and that San Francisco is entitled to a part of GM's global revenue.
And it's a crazy number, right? Like,
So GM's global revenue is $3 billion. So they're saying that $3 billion is subject to city taxes, which is $108 million. And GM is saying, of course, that Cruise operates independently from GM and only started generating modest revenue recently.
That seems pretty far-fetched.
That's batshit, dude. That's a good way to kick businesses out of your fucking city.
San Francisco has serious problems right now. Most of the
People are
businesses
just
have
gonna
left, but
leave.
then the rent prices haven't gone down. So like, it's just creating like a ton of empty places. There's like a whole Channel 5 documentary around that, how there's like open air drug markets right now in San Francisco, and like it's just like extreme poverty and extreme wealth, and then like all the normal people had to leave.
Is it damaged? My car is damaged.
Where?
Right here. If you want to see, you can come over.
Shit.
Why are you hitting my car, lady?
Because it's not damaged. You bitch. Would you tell her to get away from me? She's crazy.
This guy's face is like, how am I involved in this?
That feels also staged as all shit, right?
It's not damaged.
I mean, usually what you're supposed to do
You don't
in an
have to-
accident is we exchange information.
Bitch.
Oh, I believe this could have been real.
You are a crazy bitch.
Is she driving away?
Have a license?
Yeah. I got it now. She just drove away. Really appear-
That's one way they handle a car accident.
I didn't see any damage that she was smacking on, but
It didn't really look like damage, but also smacking someone's car after like backing them is just fucking weird.
yeah, I didn't see any damage, but you know.
Let's see. This is the biggest and best sandwich from anywhere. From Arby's? I don't know about Arby's.
This bag, I have the biggest and best fast food sandwich that you can get anywhere.
Yeah, can I get a meat mountain?
There's seriously a sandwich called the Meat Mountain from Arby's.
No way.
So I thought this was a legend. It is called the Meat Mountain from Arby's. I've never even seen it, but I've heard about it, and I just ordered it. Look at that. It's got all of the meat that Arby's has on one sandwich. Let's try it out.
That looks disgusting.
I was thinking it was going to be dry. It's actually really moist, and all of these different meats actually taste pretty good together. So if you're looking for a cool novelty, stop by Arby's and ask for the Meat Mountain. They may hesitate at first when you order it, but it is a real thing, and it's really cool to have.
I'm Googling this. I don't know if I believe. Is Arby's
No,
Meat
it's not real.
Mountain real? There's a concept born of marketing. People thought the restaurant served. So I guess maybe it is real.
No
I'm seeing things pop up. I guess it was an advertising thing though. They're trying to show off that they also have chicken and stuff besides their one meat, so they advertise that, but you can't actually order it.
Oh. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that either. I don't like Arby's though. When we did our
That's
fast
too
food
much
shows,
meat. I like Arby's. I just, I'd go for like the French dip or something.
cruising through these. We got like 10 minutes left until Paul's homies show up.
Down behind the yellow line, please.
What tier was Arby's?
To the customer with the juicy melon, please stand away from the yellow line.
She's behind the
yellow line. Customer with the juicy melons, please stand away from the yellow line, sir.
Okay, that's funny.
Thank you very much.
But what's the point of the yellow line if you're behind? Like, make the yellow line back here if you want people behind the gray line.
Yeah,
both those
weird.
people are behind the yellow line. That was funny though. There's a guy with melons behind him.
Stand behind the yellow line, please.
They're totally behind the yellow line though. I feel like that's.
Yeah, I guess it's funny though that she thought he was talking to her because of her melons.
Yeah. Good comedy. Good comedy.
I do not remember, Buzz King, what tier Arby's was, but I feel like it should be like A tier, maybe B tier because
like
people
C
are
tier,
rude.
I think, but I don't remember
You
what
guys
other
are
people
all
voted.
nuts. I would put that shit in A tier. I think.
I'm anti Arby's. I've never seen you eat at Arby's in the 10 years I've lived with you. Like, there's no
Arby's
way
is like a road trip food, or like I've had Arby's like
only
late
good enough to eat
night.
on road trips. Why don't you eat it ever in your normal
There's
life?
an Arby's in fucking Hollywood. I've been there a couple times actually. So yeah, I don't know.
I feel like
I mean,
A tier stuff that you eat regularly, like that's like Jack in the
That's S
Box,
tier.
Taco Bell, McDonald's, like A or S tier.
Those
but,
are
like,
those are S tiers,
if
dude.
you're eating it once every 3 years, that's not a fucking A tier restaurant that you're.
I have Arby's at least once a year, at least.
I don't know if I
So
even
maybe
believe that.
we'll say B tier then, but I'm not going lower than B tier. Arby's
we
is
got to
good.
move on. We got videos to watch. Not a lot of time.
We went fishing. It took forever, but we caught a good amount of fish, and they did not cook them yet.
What?
Well, this is what we caught.
So what's next?
What do we do? Do we grill it here?
Cá này mình sẽ ăn sống ạ. He's saying we're gonna eat it like this.
No, thank you.
Are they fucking
that smile?
Bro, dude, that's a
Are
big
they just
fish.
fucking with foreigners, or is this normal?
There's no way,
This
bro.
isn't a real thing. What is this?
This is a herb to eat with the fish. It's mint and the flower of the banana. Some sour vinegar. Oh my god, I would never do that. I would not catch one.
Bro, what is going on? So he grabbed the fish, he put it in the salad, he pinches it together with the salad.
Dude, what is going on?
No, I would not eat that.
Bones and shit in the fish.
I would not eat that.
So what, like
Oh.
bones and guts and everything, huh?
It's yummy.
Hơi mặn một chút. Let it.
I feel like there's no way that's a thing. So one of the top comments says this is not a common thing in Vietnam. It's only common in this dude's house. Lol.
Yeah, he's fucking with these guys.
I feel like he definitely is because it's like he knows he's gonna be on the internet. Also, if he made those guys eat it like that, that is pretty funny. But that's gross. Hard pass. If anybody asked me to do that, I'd be like, sorry, fuck your culture. Like, if it's rude to refuse that, I'm being rude. I'm not eating a fucking.
I'd be like,
raw
I'd
live
eat
fish.
it raw, but I'm gonna like kill it and then I'm gonna fillet it and then
Yeah,
I'm
you
gonna
prepare
do
it like
fillet
sushi. You
and
don't
other
just
stuff.
fucking eat the whole fish raw.
I'm not just
That's
gonna
crazy.
eat. I'm not gonna bite into a fish and let its guts like pop into my mouth. Like that sounds nasty. No amount
No
of
thank
sauce is gonna cover that taste.
All right, now we're back to Lyle the therapy gecko.
It also feels cruel. I feel like just kill it first. It seems a little.
I feel like it's
needlessly
gonna die pretty quick either way, but
cruel. Yeah.
I think
guess.
fish like don't have feeling or something too, right? Like fish. I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like because there's some like vegetarian or like pescatarian people that only eat fish because like fish are less sentient than other animals. I don't know. I don't know what the fucking animal science is, but I know there is a
Yeah, I
thing
don't
that
know.
like fish are supposed to not feel pain in the same way or process it.
Scotty,
I'm
it
sure.
says here you have been actively committing marriage fraud for money. What exactly is marriage fraud?
In my job, if you're married, you get paid significantly more money. So me and one of my buddies decided to just get married. And now I make a bunch of money and I buy him things sometimes. And it all works out good for the both of us. At work, I have to kind of tiptoe around the fact that I'm not gay.
Well, Scotty, I have news for you. If you and your buddy are legally married, there is no fraud being taken place. You don't have to be gay to get married to a man. You did it.
I love him also. I love my husband a lot.
I thought that was funny. The guy's like concerned he's committing marriage fraud. It's like the fraud would be if you said you're married and you're not actually married. The fact that you legally got married means that's not fraud. Like you're just married to a man.
Yeah, I don't hear the fraud. I guess it's like a sham wedding, but I think it's fraud in the sense that like you're taking advantage of like, wedding legalities and like equal rights that gay people have fought for and like are using that for financial gain. So it's kind of like immoral.
And a woman could do it too, though. Like you could marry a woman that you didn't love.
A woman could do it too, but it's only because you're allowed to marry same-sex couples are allowed to get married, and they're only allowed to get married because actual gay people fought for those rights.
No, but I
And
think
these
you get
people
extra
are
money
using
either
that.
way.
You're using that like equal right now to basically financial. I don't know. I think it's immoral. I don't think it's illegal. It's immoral as shit. I wouldn't do it. I think I would shame the person for it more than the guy did. But
I think marriage is stupid in general. Like as a like
yeah,
concept.
I could kind of second
It
that.
doesn't really bother me, but also like I don't even think people that are married should get paid more for being married. Like if he and his buddy both work for the same company or like clearly marrying each other just get more money, it's like why I don't know. Why should you get more money for that?
Yeah, that's a weird fucking rule too, for sure.
Okay, we already watched this one. Let's skip this one. This
yeah.
was the one where talked about almost burning down a bank.
Oh,
I just thought
right.
that was a funny video because like the guy thought he was like doing something illegal. It was like, oh, it's not actually illegal because
Yeah,
you're
it's
legally
like that's
married.
true. It wasn't. I don't think it's illegal either. It sounds like you're actually married.
It's also like the whole fucking isn't that like the whole plot of Chuck and Larry that like Adam Sandler
Yeah.
movie?
I think they also comment on like the morality of it. Like it's definitely, I think it is fraud because in order to marry somebody, like that's the reason that you're marrying is because you're like in love and doing like the definition of that.
That's like
is
in
specified.
religion. I don't think legally speaking you have to love someone to marry them. Like when it's a legal thing. Like it's all just legal. Like I feel like the religion brings the like you'll never leave them and love them forever. I feel like that's all on the religion side. Like I don't know. You're married and I'm not, so I don't know what the fucking documents
Yeah, I
say,
had
but
to
feel
like there was legal like things when before we were married that I was doing like a legal thing about like a relationship status where you had to like sign a sworn affidavit and I got like letters from people in my family that basically said like yeah they're in love. They like it was like a fucking that was part of it for sure on a legal level. So he could still be committing fraud. I'm not 100% sure.
He said he loves his buddy though at the end.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, in Chuck and Larry,
that are
it was
married
fraud.
that like don't have sex and like are not romantically interested in each other, but they love each other on like a like companion level.
I think there's part of it is like these weird like things about like when you get married, a part of like an official marriage includes like consummation of the marriage, which is having sex after being pronounced married. And if you haven't done that, then the marriage isn't like officially a marriage.
That's part of the
It's, like,
legal
there's,
documents
like,
of being
weird
married. Or
shit
that,
like
I thought
that.
that was like a religion thing.
There's like religion is definitely tied into like marriage documents, but I guess it is slightly separate. Like it's like you could get like a domestic partnership, and I don't think like you could do that just if you live together platonically for like 12 years or something with somebody. Then you could apply for a domestic partnership, and it doesn't have to be a like romantic relationship. But if you're moving in with someone and you want to get on their health plan, you can't just marry them and not actually be like in a committed married like dynamic relationship. That would be fraud.
I just don't think it's up to the government to define what people's relationships.
That's definitely a different like topic.
So I
I
guess
kind of agree with that too.
My ex-girlfriend's parents, they had been married for 20 years. They slept in separate bedrooms, hardly even talked to each other. Like they barely communicated with. Like they're basically, I don't know, like
basically
roommates.
domestic partners.
Yeah,
like they just live
they're
together.
married. It's like who's to say that's not the
actively.
way that you should live your life, or like why should the government be able to define because they don't actively have sex with each other that they're like
that's true.
not.
I totally agree. I don't think like it's a really weird like thing in general for the government to like tell people who you can marry or
there's also like arranged marriages and shit where people legitimately don't love each other and their families like I don't know, like looking at marriage as such a like one scope thing is like I don't think it's up to the government to define that.
Yeah,
personally,
I would say if those two dudes got married and the like people who gave them their marriage licenses like signed off on it on that government level, then there's no fraud going on in that situation. I would still stand by the fact that I think it's like you're exploiting like equal rights that people fought for in a spirit of financial gain that is immoral. And you could argue with me on that. I would be fine with that. Like I could see.
Oh, I
the other
definitely think they're
side of the argument
exploiting the
too.
system. I just
Yeah.
don't necessarily think it's immoral because it's like you're seeing it from like the side of the gay. But what if the guy's friend was female and he's like, "Oh, I married my female friend who I'm not having sex with, so we both get extra money." Like to me, it's like I don't know. It's just like you're making extra money. Like
That's
people do
true.
loopholes, financial loopholes all the time, and I guess like
That's
the
true, and
morality
it's
of that would
weird.
be-
Like I would weirdly have less of an issue with it if he did it with a female friend.
because that
Just
seems to be your
because-
issue. But I'm like, if I see
yeah,
it from
that's
that
literally
side,
that
it's
is honestly you're right. Like that is my issue. Like the issue is that you're exploiting the like it's only a loophole because same-sex marriage is possible, and it's only possible because same-sex people struggle.
my
and
argument is
fought
you
for
could do
rights.
the same thing
That's,
with
like,
a female friend, and then it's not exploiting the.
Then I would, yeah, honestly, I would take less issue with it too. You're right. And that's
But
kind of
it's all just a
hypocritical,
financial
honestly.
loophole, and I feel like half of making money is finding financial, like I don't know, all fucking people
That's true.
jump through loopholes to make more money. That's
I think
like
a lot of
part
money is
life.
made in an immoral way. I don't think like, if you're going to be very moral about your behavior, you're definitely not going to like end up running a Fortune 500 company or.
I personally wouldn't do it, but I don't really see an issue with someone like if your
Yeah.
company is going to give you extra benefits and like you see a bunch of other people doing it, you're like, just because I'm single, I get paid less and work just as hard as my coworkers. Like, how is that fair?
Yeah, I do agree with like there is. Yeah, it's definitely nuanced more than like this guy's. And I think at the end of the day, I don't think he's breaking any laws or hurting anyone. So, you do you, man.
If anything, he's just taking money out of the fucking CEO's pockets and fuck those people. So,
Yeah.
I'm for the worker. I'm for the common man. All right, let's get into another off the rails.
So I am a behavioral neuroscientist, and I conditioned myself to get horny when I smelled microwavable pot pie. Every time I would make pot pies in the microwave, I would beat my dick smelling the pot pies. And then one time, someone in my family made a pot pie and I smelled it and I was instantly horny.
To this day, when you smell pot pie, do you still get hard?
No, because in classical conditioning, after a certain amount of time getting hard and not smelling the stimulus of pot pie, you have extinction period where you lose that learning ability. And I tested it too.
You really are a scientist.
Literally, yeah.
Literally, yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny. Like, what a weird fucking thing to like a guy who's like a fucking
Yeah,
PhD,
okay.
like-
I guess that's
Also,
a good thing. That's an interesting concept of like you could condition yourself to get into stuff that you don't like have a kink for or whatever.
That's such a
It's
weird,
kind of
like-
that's like the takeaway for me there. It's like, ooh, what things should I get into by?
But why would you
using this
choose
good
fucking
technique?
pot pies? Like, what a strange.
Pot pie is a
like-
little like strange.
Also, what do you not eat it? Like, you just cook it and then you have to sit there and masturbate, and then like you have a not warm pot pie. I guess pot pies stay warm for a pretty good amount of time. But
That's true.
I felt like it was
Although
going to turn into like a American Pie fucking a pie type thing, but no, he just like
Oh,
conditioned
yeah.
himself to the smell of it to make him interact.
And then he just beat off. Yeah.
The phone calls that come into this thing are like, I've been watching so many of these short clips. Like, they're so amusing. Like the stories that people have, it's just like humans are strange. Like people get into some weird shit. Assuming this is real, people could be lying about this stuff, but like I tend to believe most of the people like sound pretty honest when they're
Yeah.
talking to him. Here's another one. This is Danny Brown, the rapper, as a guest.
I was in the Mormon church for 15 years, and there's no sex before marriage or anything like that. And so I was like, fine, I'll join the military. And I get to jack off freely now.
So you left a religion just to jack off?
Hell yeah.
You crazy, though. I ain't joining the military just to jack off.
I mean, that's the only reason to join the military.
What a, I feel like you could leave a religion without joining the military. Like, what does joining the military have to do with leaving Mormonism? It's such like a crazy like logic jump. But, yeah, like Danny Brown was like the perfect girl. Actually, like, I'm not joining the military just to jack off.
This is what they have in our armed forces? China gonna fuck us up. What was the question? What do you want us to help you with?
Should I make my friend lemon meringue pie this weekend?
If you're not gonna jack off in it.
The whole thing is supposed to ask the question too. And he's like, what is the question here? Because like the therapy gecko, he's supposed to like be giving people advice. So, like people will call it a rant about shit and not even really have a question. It's like, what? Why are you calling right now? But, yeah. The Danny Brown episode is pretty good. I watched that full episode.
That was pretty funny.
All right, here's our last one. Then we'll do a grubfish and end this stream. God, I love Therapy Gecko. Though I might watch some more of this after our stream. Can't remember what this one is.
That's my pie.
To be honest, I took a very large bag of mushrooms, and I feel like in some other life I was a fish.
What do you think you'll be in the next life?
I'd definitely be a bird. The sea is cool, and the land is all right, but I got to check out the sky.
That's actually a pretty natural progression. You're a human now, experiencing the land. Before, you feel like you were a fish, experiencing the sea. And in the next life, you'd like to experience the sky. And then in the life after that, you'll be a human again, but you'll be an astronaut.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hold on, wait. You have to ask my mom your question.
Your mom? You're with your mom? Is
Hello?
she on? What's up?
How are you?
I'm good. Are you guys doing mushrooms together?
Are we doing mushrooms together?
No.
No?
How are you?
I thought that was hilarious.
It's just like,
but also, who takes like a whole full bag of mushrooms and then just hanging out next to their mom, like calling the shit? Like the whole situation is just bizarre. Like he blew the guy's cover though. He's like, "Oh, are you doing mushrooms?" And she's like, "No," and he's like, "Oh fuck!" I just let on to this guy's mom that he's doing mushrooms. Like, I don't know. I thought that was a funny scene.
that's pretty fucking ridiculous.
That's the sort of stuff you get on the show. Like you just get random callers, but. If you're looking for weird podcasts to watch on YouTube, I definitely recommend the.
That it was a good cover switch to. She's like, no, and he's like, how are you?
No problem.
Definitely kept it going.
I think Lyle Forever is the channel, but he's got a lot of good ones. If you go to like Lyle the Therapy Gecko,
he's been doing this for a long time. I've seen him.
Yeah, he's been doing it for years. It got big during the pandemic, but he's starting to get like AAA celebrities on there now, which is the fun. Like I love the Danny Brown one. I like seeing people that I like on there like go through it. If you look at popular, like he had Bobby Lee on, that one was good. Lil Yachty, Denzel Curry, Doja Cat, Anthony Fantano. I watched that full one. Eric Andre, Andrew Callahan from Channel 5. I don't know who Noel Miller is. Mark Rebier, Zach Fox, but yeah, he has a bunch of like celebrities on, and they go through for like an hour or 2 hours and just like phone call after phone call, give people advice, and people have just ridiculous stories. So shout out to the Therapy Gecko. Check it out if you're into that sort of content. And we're gonna do our last giveaway here and end the stream. Thanks for hanging out. I gotta get some food before I need to be quiet for Paul stuff. I'm probably gonna play some Counter-Strike or maybe some finals.
Yeah.
Busking was saying some people get divorced, so the person making low income gets the low income benefits, welfare, food stamps, etc. Why do you have to be divorced to do that?
Right, because if you make a joint income, then you'd like offset the low income person's benefit opportunities.
Oh, you're saying just for that?
Yes, because you can't both get them. Like filing.
I thought you were saying like
you could. Couldn't you file separately though? Couldn't you be like married?
I thought he was saying the divorce led to extra benefits. It's like if you're going to be getting like I know that makes sense in the like what's the one where you have kids, you have to pay child whatever. Like when the husband has to pay for the kids.
Child support.
Yeah, child support. I'm like, that wouldn't be beneficial for both parties, and that, like that's just taking like you can do that when you're still married. Just have one person give the other person money, but I guess it makes sense if you're both married and one person would be receiving benefits and cannot because you're filing together or married or whatever.
Yeah, but can't you file separately though and still be married? Like, and one person gets.
I don't know. That's out of my
You know,
realm of
I guess
expertise.
then it gets. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah,
I usually
there's a lot of
felt drunk.
weird rules around like being married and money and stuff. Like,
It's for sure. Also, like when you start making like, if you're making very little money, there's certain like benefits like for health insurance plans and stuff like that that really help a lot. Like your plan's premium can be like $100 a month or less if you're not making very much money. But then when you start making like not a lot of money, but like like a decent amount of money, those plans like the assistance goes away, and then you start having to pay like $600-700 a month for that same fucking coverage. And like at the end of the day, you're not really making any more money. It's just like all the assistance goes away. And so
Yeah.
like there's this weird like threshold between like being poor and like being on your feet where like you're kind of standing still even when things are improving financially, which sucks.
I don't know if you saw Hamster. We watched a bunch of your videos. We like the
they're
one
good.
where
the lady
old
falling in
woman
the
fell
pool is
into
my
the pool.
favorite. Yeah, that one.
She could have been a
That was
super
a
sketchy
good-
video if she didn't fall into the pool. Because when
scared.
old people fall and like break their hips, they die. But she fell into a pool, so we're good. Still funny,
Right.
not tragic. All right,
That
let's
was
do this
just a
giveaway.
good reaction.
Get on with our weekend. We had some good off the rails videos this week. I'll probably find more of those Lyle videos for the next week. There's one that I thought I added that I didn't. That was, I don't know. There's a lot of the sexual videos get added. That seems to be the ones that like when people are talking about weird sex stuff, like those often get clipped.
Yeah.
But I enjoy them, so I see why. Like those are some of my favorite ones. Such a strange show. A guy like painted green, dressed like a gecko is like. He also like a lot of the clips we see are just really ridiculous stuff. Like he actually gives pretty sound advice a lot of the time. Like he's a pretty like
Yeah.
when he's
like
not making
grounded.
a joke.
He's not really doing a character either. He's just dressed up.
Like there's one where he's like, some guy's like, my dream job is drug testing me. I think I'm gonna fail it. Like what's gonna happen? He's like, well, if it's your dream job, they wouldn't drug test you and interfere with your life and ability where you can't live it the way you want to live it. So is it really your dream job? And the guy was just like, yeah, I never really looked at it that way. Like maybe this isn't the job that I want forever if they're like, don't allow me to do the things I like to do outside of my job. But like, he's like, he sees
Yeah.
things from an angle that like people are not able to, which maybe is just what actual therapists do. I don't know. I haven't been in therapy in a long time, but it is kind of cool. Like seeing him interact with people. Like another guy was like, I'm living with my parents and I'm 28 and like I have enough money to move out, but they don't want me to, so I won't. And he's like, what's wrong with upsetting your parents? He's like I don't want to like disappoint them. It's like, what's the worst that happens if you disappoint them? Like they'll be disappointed and upset for a bit. Like they're not going to stop loving you forever. Like it's okay to disappoint your parents and do what you want to do with your life. Like you don't have to stay living with them just because you'll disappoint them in the moment if you tell them you're moving out. And like it's like that's good advice. Like that guy was just had like a mental block where he's like, I can't do anything that will make my parents angry. It's like it's sometimes people get angry and you have disagreements. Like you can't just not do what you want to do because you're gonna disappoint your parents. Also, whose parents want them to live with them? And like my parents were happy when we were moving out and shit. They're not like, I want my kids to live with me forever.
Yeah.
Hamster said not Asian parents. You get disowned if you move out. They take the love away. That's crazy though. Like you wouldn't want your kids to go like do their own thing. I feel like my
Right.
parents are glad to get rid of us. Then my parents travel the fucking time now. Like they're stoked to be traveling and living their best lives. They do like when we come back though. Like my parents are usually asking me to come back and visit and like always want me to stay longer. Like when I come back only for a couple of days, they're like, oh, you should at least stay for like a couple of weeks. But I feel like we also, I don't know, I feel like we get sick of each other after like a couple of weeks. Like I love my parents and I like spending time with them, but I feel like 2 weeks is like any longer than that. And then it's just like
2 weeks is enough.
get on each other's nerves. The Joker 69,6. They will buy the house next door for the kids. Even that's like more fine for me. Like living in the same house is way different than like having next door. Like I guess they can just walk over whenever they want to, and that could be annoying, but like I don't know. I don't mind spending time with my parents, especially when it's not like, I feel like it's all the in between times that's annoying. Like having meals and like getting together for that stuff is not issue. It's just also like ever since we moved out, my parents like sold the family house we grew up in. So like I stay in like, actually they don't even have that place anymore. Like my parents sold their condo, but like there's like a guest bedroom, but like my stepmom works in the living room and then my dad works in the back office. So there's just no rooms to hang out in that my parents weren't working in. So it's just like not really enough space for like people. So we're just kind of in each other's hair. If I like want to watch TV, I'm pissing Jackie off because she's like working in the same room I'm watching TV in and stuff. So I feel like that's most the reason why I like get in each other's way, because their place was not set up to have a person living there full time. Although my dad's retired now, so it'd probably be easier to hang out in his back office area with him.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this giveaway and call it a stream. Hope everybody had a fantastic week. I don't know if people have exciting plans for this weekend. I'm watching Counter-Strike. That's my plan for the weekend. I'm pretty excited for that personally, but not like I do that every weekend. So it's exciting this weekend because it's in America, so it's not in crazy hours. I've also got a meeting on Monday at like a somewhat normal hour, so I can't be waking up at 5 p.m. Where do you watch CSGO? It's Counter-Strike 2 now, Buzz King, but I watch it on YouTube. YouTube or Twitch. Generally YouTube. They almost every service dual broadcast. They broadcast to Twitch and YouTube, but I have YouTube Premium, so I don't see ads. And then anytime they do an ad break on Twitch, it pulls away. So personally, I watch on YouTube because I don't have ads, but some people only broadcast on Twitch and I'll watch it there. And then the Blast tournaments, I watch on Blast.tv. Blast has the best streaming interface of all of them, but they only stream their own tournaments. So the one that we're doing group fantasy for, I will be watching on Blast. The chat is also so much better on Blast. The chat is toxic and crazy on Twitch and YouTube, but on Blast, I feel like only people that are chill show up there. Like they also moderate it very heavily. They have like 3 mods in the chat. Whereas like I've been on YouTube chats where like some of the ones we were watching or I was watching just had no moderators and people are like spamming that they love Hitler and shit and like white supremacist shit just constantly in the chat too. Not like once, like every 7 seconds. It's just like, this is a fucking shithole. I had to block like 100 people watching it or just get rid of the chat. But it's fun like being able to chat with people that are actually chatting about stuff. Like somebody was talking about the Smiths for like an hour in the other chat. Like people were getting really into talking about like new wave and 80s music in the middle of like a Counter-Strike chat. And I was like, this is a chill chat room. I'm into this stuff. So shout out to Blast TV if you're looking for a place to have actual conversations and not just have toxic people yelling at each other and calling the players bots over and over. That's the other big thing. When someone dies, they're like, this player's a bot. And it's just like all the chat is. On YouTube and Twitch.
That's pretty funny though.
Okay, let's do this giveaway.
Let's see, where am
I see Carlos
red
with the red tail.
Yeah, baby. Oh, missed me, bitch.
I'm probably going to play some Counter-Strike tonight too. I'm still pissed. Last night I had such a bad game. Like I just stopped playing. I was like, I'm going to stop because I'm going to get full tilt mode. I played really well. My team played really poorly, but it like put me in a negative headspace. And like, that's when you need to step out of ranked if you don't mind just tanker rating. I was pissed because I had 4,999 rating. If I would have won, I would have moved from silver to the next category. And then I played super well and my team just sucked. And I deranked instead of going up. That pissed me off.
I'm dead. Yeah, that sucks.
The only rounds we won, I got 3 to 4 kills. Like I killed almost their entire team. That's the only way we can win. If I don't forget single-handedly carry my team, we can't win. This is not how Counter-Strike works.
You gotta carry harder.
It's hard on defense though because they just stopped going to wherever I was defending. Like I would clear the entire team at A and they just go to B, and then I couldn't retake the site by myself. So it was like,
ooh,
walk. Is it the grid? The grind? Walk the grid, I think. You've been hanging out in our chat, but I can't remember exactly what it is. Walk the grid. Congratulations. We don't have your wallet ID. Is it on our Can you post it in the chat? I don't see it on our forum either. I'm surprised not a single person has the username walk on our forum. With how many wallets are on this forum? Like an insane amount. 1,700.
Looks like it's xldqw.wham.
xldqw.wham. Thank you, sir. Sure, or ma'am, I guess. I assume everybody on the internet's a man, but that's not true. Is there like a gender neutral sir and ma'am that you can say when you're trying to be formal? And I've heard people say zer with a Z. Zerzim.
I'm not sure what would be a good gender neutral sir or ma'am.
This looks like it could be your wallet. Damn, you have a lot of NFTs bought and sold. 93,000 wax worth. Going hard.
Hot now.
I'm not sure what my wallet is.
Let me tell you. I'll tell you what my.
I also have multiple wallets, but
my hot wallet is 16,000 wax bought.
It's a lot
4,000 sold. That's not that much. Let me check my actual wallet. Here we go. 117,000 wax bought.
Okay, there's the big numbers.
That's more like it. 75,000 wax sold too. Not bad. And then my inventory is worth 87,000 wax. So
dang it. My Polish dog numbers are just sad. It's like showing how poorly everything I bought on wax did. Is this sending? What is happening? Send the NFT. Times have to sign this transaction. Is it going? Failed. I think we sent it.
It probably already sent is what happened.
Yeah. There we go. It's sent. Yeah, let's check the Polish dog. That's my...
Yeah, Max Collected is the one I had 117,000 wax bought.
185,000 wax bought.
Yamster's got 170,000 sold.
66 sold. So not doing so hot there. And my inventory is only worth 34. So where did all the money go?
I think I probably have some wallets. Like my Wham wallet probably has like a
Neon
bot
Fanatics
then,
is
let's see,
like 17,000 bought, 14,000 sold, and 18,000. A lot of my inventory value from Polish Dog went over to Neon Fanatics. And then, yeah, let's see what my cb.b2.wham, my old.
Yeah, let's see what I wonder what my
web
Wham
wallet is.
Oh yeah, here this is less impressive. I have
180,000 bought, 160,000 sold.
That's not bad.
Damn, I have like 180,000 on multiple wallets.
That's a boatload. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, this doesn't track any of your like credit card sales or like buying drops. I don't think the total bot counts drops bot either. So if you're buying,
It doesn't.
like,
It's
pack
just
sales,
secondary. Yeah. Damn, those are some fucking whale numbers, dude. My Wham wallet is 80K bought, not
That's pretty good.
180K, but only
I got
12K
180K
sold.
on multiple wallets. Yeah, your guy might have bought and lost a ton of money on Wax because I was supporting way too many projects back when we were printing money on our planet. But you live and you
That's
learn.
true.
I should have turned that into real life money, but
Yeah.
oh well.
Or
I had fun.
at the very least, ETH or Bitcoin.
And people wonder why we get salty about Wax. Look at my wallet
Yeah,
numbers, man. I bought a
You
lot
got-
of stuff here.
Yeah,
Supporting a ton of creators.
300,000 Wax bought.
Closer to 400,000.
Yeah, that's true. You're probably at 4. I'm probably close to 2 or 3. Probably like 2.5. I'd say quarter million.
Oh shit, there's Counter-Strike going on. Oh, it's this highlight. That's crazy. 500 people are watching like an old game highlight. Makes me feel bad about our numbers. Like, you can just watch this on YouTube. Like, you don't need to watch the replay of it. I think I'll rate into...
Yamster's got that fucking right. Yeah, that's true. Buy health insurance. Pff, what are you gonna do
Pay
with
rent,
it? Pay
you
rent.
know, buy food.
Adult things, lame.
Be able to live.
Lame. Oh, Dune.
I don't remember when Navi played Spirit. When did that happen? Oh, that was the IM. I was thinking Vitality versus Spirit. Spoiler, Spirit wins this.
Whoa. What a headshot.
Wonderful's great. He's like the best player on Navi right now. He's really young too. I put him up there. He's like probably a tier below like Donk, Monacy, and Zywoo, but I see he's in like the second highest tier of Counter-Strike players.
Yamster says he's going to see Dune 2 here in a few minutes. Is that like an early access screening? Because is it out already? How the fuck are you going to see it today? I guess it's Friday. It comes out this weekend, maybe?
When does Dune 2 come out? March 1st, 2024. First day.
It's out today. Okay.
Wonka came out. This is coming out, or just came out. The fuck?
Wonka, I saw Wonka a while ago.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking, for some reason, Alice in Wonderland instead of Wonka. Is that the third Wonka, though? Wasn't there another Wonka?
Yeah, there was another Wonka, like the Johnny Depp one.
Sick of that story? Like, come on.
Yeah, this one was like the prequel to like the Chocolate Factory. It was like him, making his beginnings as a chocolatier.
That actually sounds more interesting than a reboot to me.
It was pretty fun, although the songs weren't nearly as good as the songs in.
Yamster, were you the one that told me to watch Tokyo Vice? I've been loving Tokyo Vice.
Nothing.
Tokyo Vice.
You
is great.
lose. Good day, sir.
I'm all caught up now on HBO, but Tokyo Vice is like, I don't know how I hadn't heard of it before. It's like a really, really good show on HBO.
Yeah,
it's about like an American reporter.
How recently did Yamster? How recently did you watch Dune 1? Like, do you still remember Dune 1? Now that you're gonna go see Dune 2 today? Because I feel like I have to rewatch Dune 1 still. Like, I saw it in theaters, but it was. I remember it was just really slow, and I just kind of don't really remember it super well.
All right, I'm gonna play us out before we get too sidetracked on movie stuff.
Yeah.
Released a gyrating. I guess also if you didn't get it last week, we have I'm trying to find. Is it just C selection Neon Space NFT maybe? We have. I think it's still available. I didn't see if it's sold out. Have a gyrating hips blend live. There are 38 left. That is my band, and the higher rarities have this song, the chorus attached to it. But all the shine is gone, the naked is gone, and then I think there might be a neon left, but most of the music is gone already. But if you're interested in my music, I'm a producer and multi-instrumental songwriter, I just put out a music video last week, the same day the NFT came out, and you should check it out. And I will post the link here, so if you all want to potentially subscribe or upvote it and give it a thumbs up, I would appreciate it. Tell the algorithm to show it to more people so I can get more than 60 views. But yeah, I'm going to play us out. I'm going to raid into Captain Degen, but this will be our outro song. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. And here's Disco Jones by the Gyrating Hips.
Jones come down from San Francisco, showed the sound round Louis Obispo. He sent the tape to LA, they got the deal the next day. Don't put it all up in those drums. We want it all. He's on call for something big. He's so tall and bronze and slim, drinking coffee with Fonda. He met Prince in the sauna, then he's playing with sharks. They don't know he's a piranha. No. Disco Jones, you got the good flow, and nobody knows till you show them that Disco Jones. You play your cards close to your chest, you're folding and holding it on my hand. Who's this feeling inside of me? Who's the man in the mirror? I still can't see Disco Jones. You got to build a home with bricks and stones. Disco Jones. I gotta light it up. I gotta keep it to myself, protect what's inside me, so nobody else can get a bit of it. Can get a bit of it, can get rid of it. Or try to make some money, you'll never get it. You're dressed to impress, but your face is a mess. What good is confidence if it's just powder squeezed in a dress? No nostril is safe now, the cops for the takedown. Yak down on the beach, lying face down. Disco Jones, you got the good flow, and nobody knows till you show them that. Disco Jones, you play your cards close to your chest. You're folding and holding it on my. What's this feeling inside of me? Who's the man in the mirror? I still can't see Disco Jones. You got to build a home with bricks and stones. Disco Jones.
All right, peace out, everybody. Have a fantastic weekend. Wait, did I not raid the? I raided the wrong person. Fail. I said Dapton Degen. Timed that so poorly. All right, now wait 8 seconds and then goodbye, everybody. Also, if everybody wants to hang out, I'll be in Discord chatting about stuff all weekend. Mostly Counter-Strike, but maybe movies and whatever else we're doing. Later. Did he just go offline right as we raided into him? Custom TV is still streaming if anybody can hear me and wants to find a stream.